yeah, 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 yeah. Shake it, but get pointing out all the lies, putting the scripture right in your eyes. The Bible guy, he reads Hebrew and Greek and shows you that your book's not unique. The Bible guy, he turns through the pages until every Christian rages. The Bible guy, watch one time and you're hooked. Now let's watch why the Christians get cooked. The Bible guy.
Howdy, howdy, everyone. This is the Bible Guy coming at you live from Northeast Texas. And everyone, make sure you are tapping that screen, sharing the live with those you love, with those you hate, with your friends and with your enemies. Tap that screen like Jonathan wanted to tap King David. Let's get the word out there so we can have some interesting conversations today about why it is that I don't believe in God, or no, why not don't believe in God? Watching too many other shows about one of the 6 topics on the board. So, if you are a Christian or Jewish or any kind of opposition to any of the 6 points on the board, come on up. Let's have a conversation. I don't bite hard unless you ask me to. How are we doing today, everybody? Yeah, don't be alarmed by the new haircut. It's just that I currently don't have a vehicle that is able to take me from point A to point B right now. And as a result, couldn't get a professionally done haircut, so I just got something simple done here at home. It is what it is. But let's Goddess is Duncan. Yep, we are Duncan. Duncan on them Christians. Let's see. And then we have our first super chat for the day already. Love to see it. Love to see it. At Misanthropology with the $2. Killer intro. Oh, wait.
I'm Misanthropology with the $2 killer intro.
Oh, thank you, Miss Anthropology. Much appreciated. We much appreciate it. Hopefully we can have a good show today. Hopefully, I don't know what's been going on very recently. We have not been getting a lot of Christians calling in, and I can only imagine it's because either they're too scared to call in, or I've convinced them all that these 6 points are true. But I guess we'll have to see if any of the Christians out there are able to gird their loins and come on up and have a conversation. I hope everyone's been having a good New Year so far, hitting hard with those resolutions. I have been I've been working my ass off lately. I've been saving up to get a new GPU for the PC, so hopefully things will run a little bit smoother. So right now I am batch editing videos for Justin and from the Deconstruction Zone, and also for Unapologetic. That's what I've been doing. Now we got another super chat here.
At Tucson KEG with the $6.66. Hail Nero. Car Fund.
Hey, much appreciated, Tucson. We'll make sure to add that to the car fund. Hitch22 says, can't stand atheists. Well, I'm pretty sure I bet atheists can't stand you either, bud. Colton says, I believe in the Bible. I believe in Jesus Christ. Well, Colton, do you believe in coming up and defending your beliefs? That's what I'm more interested in. People who believe that they should stand up for what they believe in. Just commenting some nonsense in the comment section is not standing up for what you believe. Did you do that for real, or was that a voice filter? It's all in the larynx. You
just gotta change your voice up, and
no, it's a voice changer. It's a voice changer. Ruffy says, please defend your 6 points. I absolutely can defend my 6 points, but I have to have an interlocutor to come up and have a discussion with me. These aren't just like, listen, these are positive claims I'm making here, but guess what? I can back up every single one of these positive claims. But if you don't stand up for what you believe in, then you don't really believe in it. I agree, Doubt It All. I agree. And yet, a lot of Christians in the comment section, not a lot of Christians in my my inbox, my box. Get in my box, everyone. Come on up, have a conversation. I promise I'll be very nice to you if you're nice to me. I give what I get. We can't stand theists, and unlike theists, we have evidence for our beliefs, says VWVV60. Yeah, exactly. That's the whole point. If you don't, then they're not really Christians, and they won't stand up for what they believe. Well, guys, listen, Doubt It All in the comment section is calling you Christians out. I'm calling you out. Let's see if but if you have 0 DHT, you can't get it up. Oh God. Your head looks cold. Hey, Ashlyn. Hey. It's not. It's cold. I live in Texas. My head's never cold. But you know what? I took a Fad says cowards for Christ. I took a shower right before this, and as a result, my hair is instantly dry. It's fantastic. It's Ashley, you'll never understand how good it is to have barely any hair. By the way, guys, this is not the shortest I've ever shaved my head. There was a time when I was just bald, like to the skin, bald. Well, like to the skin. Oh, hello.
What was that?
Just a momentary echo, I suppose.
No, I'm more upset about the fact that I talk to you every day, several times a day. And like you failed to be like, oh, by the way, when you see me on live.
I almost told you a couple times, but I couldn't for the life of me take a good enough picture that I was willing to send you a picture of the new cut. So like I was just like, she'll see it whenever we go live.
It looks good. I like it.
Thank you.
I am a long hair girly though, so I like me some long hair, some luscious hair.
Yeah, and all I gotta say to that is let's see.
On this episode of Prison Break.
That's what my haircut's giving right now. Rajadi Dajadi says, what is the topic today? These are the topics for the day, and let's see if there are any Christians out there who are willing and able to defend the faith. Just so you guys know, I'm an atheist who's called the Bible guy. Why do I call myself the Bible guy even though I'm an atheist? It's because I know the Bible better than the average TikTok Christian. And as a result, I'm able to say that the Bible is not inspired by God. Jesus was not the Messiah. Jesus did not rise from the dead. Jesus was not God, neither in real life nor in the Bible. The Bible's not anti-abortion, and the Bible's not a good source for morals. But we do got our first guest of the day, so let's see if we're having a good conversation. We have here Polly. Polly, I'm going to ask you 4 preliminary questions before we can move forward with the conversation. Question number 1, Polly, are you at least 18 years old?
Yes.
Question number 2, are you a Bible believer?
Yes.
Question number 3, how much of the Bible have you read?
I haven't read all of it, but I attend church and I study it, I guess like your average person, I would say.
All right, and question number 4, what pronouns do you prefer to be called by?
I don't practice the use of pronouns, so I'll pass on the question.
Yes, you do, because repeat the sentence. Could you repeat the sentence for everyone in the comment section?
I don't have a good education on that, so I'm going to have to pass on the question.
Well, okay, then I'll just educate you. Pronouns are words that we use to replace nouns in sentences in order to avoid repetition. And the third person pronouns that we use are words like he, him, she, her, they, them. Which one of these do you prefer to be called by?
You can just call me Polly.
No, like when I don't want you to say Polly, like after this conversation over and which one did I use?
That's based off of context. If I'm with a group of people, you can refer to us as they, but
I guess we
I
could
don't
just say
know what you're getting at here anymore. You can call me Paulie, like I told you the
but
third time.
no, but what are your pronouns? Because no, everyone's not going to want to
You
keep
just
saying
don't have good
Polly.
listening skills.
No, we don't always want to use your name. What if we don't want to use your name? Guess what? Not everyone likes to call me Dalton all the time. Sometimes
Well,
I
then
like
that's
to
your
say,
problem.
Polly,
It has nothing to do with me.
don't always use your name. You use the pronoun
You could just say, "Hey,
I.
Paulie, what do you think about this?" Because we're having a
no,
conversation.
if I'm not,
Polly, you don't even do that.
Can't do it.
Polly, guess what? What happens when you're not here and people want to talk about you, but they don't even want to remember, if they don't want to say your name?
Like, I don't know. Based off of my voice, could you use your context clues? And
Yeah.
kind of
Okay.
Put it
This is
together?
all right, everyone. This is Polly. She goes by she, her. I guess we're using context
There
clues.
we
So
go.
Polly's a she, her. So, ma'am, would you like to talk to us, young lady?
The Bible is not inspired. Just because it doesn't inspire you, why do you think that? Because you weren't inspired by it?
I don't. Why? What's so hard to understand about the phrase? You, as a Christian, you should know
Like,
what the phrase.
how is it not inspired?
Yeah, it's not. Doesn't have a divine force that's responsible for having it written. It's not.
No, I
God
mean,
breathed.
you're saying it's not inspired. Like, it didn't inspire you?
This is a second brain dead person who's come on this live who doesn't understand. You think that a Christian who spends enough time studying the Bible understands that the phrase "the Bible is not inspired," we're referring to divine inspiration, as in God did not inspire the Bible. 2 Timothy 3:16 makes the claim that all Scripture is inspired by God.
That's not what your prompt says.
Dalton,
your prompt doesn't say that.
I figured it out. I figured it out. Polly
You're an idiot.
Your
wants
prompt just says the Bible is not
Polly is a
inspired.
parrot who just parrots what their preacher says. So they don't have the ability to actually break down and think about.
She's not very bright. If she doesn't understand what the phrase "the Bible is not inspired" means, I think anyone who's an honest individual knows that when I say the Bible is not inspired, we know exactly what it means. It means that the Bible was not divinely inspired by a deity. The claim of 2 Timothy 3:16 is
That's not what you said
true.
the first time.
No, that's
not
what
what you said the first time.
Listen, all my audience is smart enough
Not
to
what you said the
understand
first time, no.
why aren't you smart enough to understand what I'm meaning? That's the question.
Well, I mean, you're saying a bunch of things, but
Why aren't you
they're
smart enough to
not.
understand? Why aren't you smart enough to understand what the phrase "the Bible's not inspired" means? It's so simple.
No, I was
Everyone-
asking your
here,
perspective
can-
on
can-
it.
can I get
I
some-
was
can I
asking,
get
is
some-
that from your
Can I get some ones in the comment section just to make sure that everyone else in the comment section understood what the phrase "the Bible is not inspired" meant? I just need to make sure that I'm not crazy and that we got a bunch of ones. Look at that, everyone.
Well, you
here-
just gave two different definitions.
Everyone seems to know exactly what it means.
I was
for the Bible
expecting
to not be inspired. So,
Consistency.
Polly,
Yeah.
why should I
You
think
can't
that the
be
Bible?
consistent with your answers.
Do you believe?
Makes me question.
Do you believe that the Bible is inspired?
I believe it's inspirational.
I didn't ask.
I
if it
didn't
was
write a
inspirational.
prompt though.
I didn't ask if
Hey,
it was
Dalton.
inspirational.
Do you want to
Say
ask
what?
me the question?
Is it inspired?
Do you want to
Yeah,
ask?
here,
Do you want to ask
yeah,
me the question?
Ashlyn,
I
do you
got
think the
this.
Bible? Do you think the Bible is inspired?
Not by a divine being. I definitely think that it was inspired by other ancient mythologies. That's for sure.
Yeah. See, look at that. Look at that, Polly. Ashlyn knew exactly what the question meant. Why don't you? Or are you purposefully being obtuse in order to stall the conversation because you actually don't have any good reason to believe that the Bible is inspired? Or
No, I was
you
just
said-
asked
you-
to ask a question about the prompt, and I did so, and now I'm being insulted. That's what's happening.
hopefully now you're smart enough to know exactly what the prompt says. So maybe now you can actually interact with it.
Well, in that case, anything can be inspired.
By
I
God.
mean, by
You
her
idiot.
definition, come on.
By God, you idiot. Everyone knows exactly what it means for the Bible to be inspired. If you
She just said it wasn't.
yeah, she said it's not inspired. I'm making
Yeah,
the claim
so
it's
you're
not
out of your
inspired.
mind, bro.
Do
No,
you
no,
have
Polly.
do you have a good reason to think it is inspired by
You
God?
just contradicted her.
No, I
No, I
said the
didn't.
first thing.
Argue with her. Yes,
The
you did.
first thing I said is not by anything divine, meaning not
A
by
divine-
God.
Yeah.
Or
tripping over
God.
your-
Ashlyn agrees with me that the Bible is not inspired by God. I just think maybe you're just too stupid to have this conversation.
No,
I need
dude,
you to,
you're
I need you to prove to me that you're not too
not speaking
stupid.
proper.
I need you to prove to me that you're not too stupid to have the conversation, or else I'll just drop you and we'll just move on because you're wasting
can s-
everyone's time. So
You can say that to
lady,
anybody.
so young lady, do you know what it means for when I say the Bible is not inspired? I'll give you 5 seconds to answer yes or no, or I'll drop you. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. She was too stupid to have a conversation, so now she's gone. Wait a minute.
You're more
You're a fucking idiot.
today.
What was that?
You're more feisty than I am.
Oh yeah. But anyways, for the last lady who was on here.
You're a fucking idiot.
All right. Well, hopefully someone out there is a lot smarter than our last guest and understands that when I'll just say it for all the idiots out there in the comment section who might not understand what I'm saying. When I say that the Bible is not inspired, I mean not inspired by a divine agent. I don't know how to be more clear about that. Second Timothy
you could
3:16 is not right.
Honestly, like you could clarify that a bit more. Inspired, the Bible is not inspired, but they just came up and said, well, it didn't inspire you, which was weird. Like it definitely could be a little more clear, but you could just ask instead of say it inspired me, which is like not at all what that sentence implicates.
Yeah, actually, the Bible did inspire me. It inspired me to become an atheist. So, I'll give Polly another chance. Hopefully, this time she'll be able to actually like interact with the prompt now that she knows exactly what it actually means.
Also, I hate when guests use my words
Hey.
and say that I said something that I didn't say. So please don't do that. Okay?
Yeah. So, Polly, are you actually here to interact with any of the 6 points on the board, or do you still
Yeah,
need to
no, I was
have it
trying to go over
explained
the
to
first
you?
one. No,
All right.
I'm glad you went over that. That was nice. Yeah, I was asking a question, it got answered. Just took a while, but I mean, it worked. So
Polly,
that's all right.
why do you think that the Bible is inspired?
Like I said from before, I believe it's inspirational,
I
but
didn't ask it. I didn't ask if it
inspired
was inspirational.
by your definition. Can I go back to your definition? Was inspired by divine or a god or something along those. Your definition on it's a lot more confusing.
Are you
Yeah,
not
I
a
would still
Christian?
stick to.
I thought you
I
were
would
a
still stick to
Christian.
my guns that it's by your definition still is inspired because I believe in a God. So
Even if I believed in a God, I still wouldn't believe the Bible is inspired by God. It doesn't. I need evidence to believe that the Bible is inspired by God.
well, I just don't see eye to eye with that. I don't think that's true.
Well, why?
Well, I mean, there's been commandments that were written by messengers of God like Moses. There's been.
Like the one that says you can stone women that don't bleed on their wedding night.
Are you talking about the 10 Commandments?
No,
Well, no,
you know
that one
there-
says
there's-
women
I was
property.
talking about Moses.
Yes,
so
that's the
so
10
that's
Commandments.
part
I
of-
wasn't
that's part
talking
of
about
Moses.
your.
But we can talk about Exodus 20:17 where it says women are property. That's the 10th commandment. Thou
Well,
shalt not covet thy neighbor's ox.
There's a
donkey,
lot of
male,
wicked
or
laws.
I think.
Do you agree with every law in the U.S.?
I think the problem is that Polly doesn't understand.
You agree with every law ever?
Come
Come on.
Anyways, I don't think
It's
Polly
ridiculous.
I don't think Polly understands that not just the 10 Commandments came from Moses. That there were 613.
There's
commandments.
Mosaic. There's Abrahamic law. There's all sorts of law.
There's
You're
no
right.
such thing as there are 613 commandments that God gave to Moses, to the children of Israel. One of those apparent instructions was that if a woman doesn't bleed on her first night with her husband having sex with him, that she's to be stoned to death. Yet we know for a fact that like a great majority of women don't bleed their first time having sex, if the Bible is inspired, why doesn't your God know this biological fact about women?
I think he absolutely knows everybody and how they are biologically.
So he
I don't
just
know
wants
what
he
that
just
has
wants
to
some
do
women
with much of
stoned.
anything. I do think there is a.
So he
So-
just wants some women stoned.
Yeah, innocent women. He wants to stone innocent women, is what you're telling me.
No, but I think loyalty and I think obedience and
These
I
wo-
mean, look, what about Abraham? What
Here,
about Abraham
Pauly,
and his son?
here- no, Pauly, we're not moving on to Abraham. You need to stay focused.
Abraham was gonna.
Pauly. We need to stay focused, Pauly. Pauly,
There's a
are
million.
Pauly, are you aware that
You could say that about it.
a great majority of women do not bleed their first time having sex? Are you aware of this?
What's that? Okay. All right. Cool.
All right. And there's a law allegedly given by God that states if a woman doesn't bleed,
It was
her
given.
first time
No,
having-
it wasn't.
Yes, it was. According to the text.
So
it
the law
was.
came from the heavens. It wasn't written by man. You're
It's
right.
a
Okay.
quote from,
it
from
just
God.
fell-
It's literally
has-
Deuteronomy
The law
22.
fell.
Deuteronomy 22:13. It's literally in your book. I don't think you've read it. I honestly,
Written?
it's a quote.
Yeah. It's literally Yahweh speaking to Moses, giving him instructions on how to lead the children of Israel. And one of the instructions that came allegedly, according to the text, from the mouth of God himself is that if a woman doesn't bleed her first time having sex, she is to be stoned to death. So why doesn't your God know that women don't always bleed their first time having sex? Or does he just know and he just wants to have a bunch of innocent women murdered?
So you don't see that problem being resolved by the silver lining of Jesus Christ in the New Testament?
No.
Any
No.
of that. You don't make the connections. You don't connect the dots.
No,
No,
because because
I got
Jesus
you. Okay.
because Jesus upheld the law of Moses, and Paul even says about the law of Moses in Romans
Jesus is
7:12
his
that-
own
that-
law. You're out of your mind.
Wow, I'm sorry. Did the middle of my sentence interrupt the
No, he
beginning
did
of
not.
yours?
No.
Anyways, I'll just keep talking. I'll just keep muting you and finish my sentence. Paul says in Romans chapter 7 verse 12 that the law is holy, just, and good. So, Pauly, do you agree with Paul that the law that says that a woman who does not have sex who does not bleed her first time having sex is it should be stoned, is holy, just, and good?
Are you telling me that Paul assumed leadership under Mosaic law? Is that what you're telling me?
I'm asking you, do you agree with Paul's statement that the law is holy, just, and good?
I believe a man said that, but I don't believe Jesus
So
said
you
that,
disagree?
so.
So you disagree with Paul? Okay,
I
let's go
believe
to
that that's a
let's-
great
then
thing
let's-
to be
then let's-
noted
then-
as
then
one of
let's
the
go to
followers.
Then let's go to Jesus. What did Jesus say about the law of Moses in Matthew chapter 5, verses 17 through 19, Pauly?
Jesus completely did away with that law. He actually shrunk it
Oh.
completely from 10 commandments to a very,
Wow.
what a lot of people claim to be
Hey, Pauly-
socialist.
Pauly, what
Can
what's-
I finish or are you going to cut
Pauly-
me off?
Pauly, what's
Can I
sin?
finish? Can't do it, can I?
What's
Yeah,
sin?
it doesn't feel good, Polly, does it, to have someone interrupt you?
No,
Yeah,
you're
look
right.
at
Well,
that.
you all are saying things that it's night and day. I mean, it's very,
Here.
it contradicts.
Pauly,
Oh, you got the
we'll
King
read-
James up?
No, we don't read the King James here. That's bullshit. But anyways,
What do you got? The
Uh,
NIV?
the New Revised Standard Version Updated Edition. It's the scholarly like
New Revised.
New Revised Standard
Pull up
Version.
the
Updated
NIV
edition.
or the King James.
Why would I do? Why the only thing I use those Bibles for is
Because
toilet
we're not
paper.
going to see eye to eye. We're reading different versions at that point.
I can read the original Greek if you prefer that. I'm not going to read the King James version though. It's a bullshit translation. We can have that debate in a moment, Pauly. But for now, I need you to focus on what Jesus said. Jesus said in Matthew chapter 5, verses 17 through 19, "Do not think that I've come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish, but to fulfill. For truly I tell you, until heaven and earth passes away, not one letter One stroke of a letter will pass from the law until all is fulfilled, or all is accomplished. Therefore, whoever breaks the least of these commandments and teaches others to do so will be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever does and teaches them will be called great in the kingdom of heaven. Do you agree with this statement from Jesus?
Hold on. Let me just read it in the NIV since I have it pulled up right here.
I
Paul-
see from your guys' perspective, but yeah, I'm curious what the NIV says.
Oh, it says the same thing. Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish, but to fulfill them. For I truly tell you, until heaven and earth disappear, not the smallest letter nor the least stroke of a pen will by any means disappear from the law until all is accomplished. Therefore, anyone who sets aside one of the least of these commandments and teaches other accordingly will be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever practices and teaches these commandments will be called great in the kingdom of heaven. For I truly tell you that unless your righteousness surpasses that of the Pharisees and the teachers of the law, you will certainly not enter the kingdom of heaven.
So, do you agree or disagree with Jesus on this point, Polly?
Yeah, no, everything he says, yeah, I 100% agree with. However, I also think that the way he spoke completely shrunk the law, all of the Abrahamic law, and his teachings completely shrunk it. And we noted it as civilization.
Ashlyn, can you read verse 19 again?
Because whenever
there are for anyone who sets aside one of the least of these commandments and teaches other accordingly will be called least in the kingdom of heaven. And whoever practices and teaches teaches these commandments will be called great in the kingdom of heaven. See, it's weird because mine says that not until heaven and earth disappear, not the smallest letter or not the least stroke of the pen by any means disappear from the law until all is accomplished. Is heaven and earth still here, Dalton?
Oh, let me check it. Look out my window. Yep, still there.
Has all been accomplished?
No, I think even Paul's smart enough to know that there are unfulfilled prophecies in the Bible.
Oh, okay. Just making sure I read this correctly.
That's a blessing for some.
Yeah, so heaven and earth are still here. And all is
but anyway,
and therefore,
he pretty much shrank.
Okay, Polly, is
he
Jesus
shrank those laws?
Is Jesus just the biggest
and Mosaic?
Is Jesus just the biggest fucking hypocrite on the planet in your theology? Is that what's going on? Jesus said not to diminish even the smallest bit of the law, but yet at the same time, Jesus diminished the smallest bit of the law. Why is your Jesus a hypocrite?
You think you're the first to dislike him? He was put on a cross.
It's not.
Bro.
It's not. It's not about.
Are you?
It's not about disliking him.
It's not original.
You dumb. You numbnuts. It's about the
your
fact
fault.
that it's about your version of Jesus.
You're a sheep.
You're a sheep. You're literally
You're
a
just
sheep.
a sheep.
You're literally here, Polly. What is?
You're a sheep on hate.
Here, I'll just quote to you Psalm chapter 23, verse 1. The Lord is my shepherd; I shall not want. You literally are a sheep. You are as self-admittedly. Christians calling people sheep is
you're the worst guy.
Is the most ironic thing in the world. You are, by the way, you are the most immature guest I've ever had, Polly. This is cruel.
No, I mean,
now your version.
You think you're the first?
Your version of Jesus apparently says not to diminish the least bit of the law, and yet himself diminishes the least bits of the law. Your version of Jesus. Now, by the way, your version of Jesus is not the Jesus of the Gospels. So I have less of a problem with the Jesus of the Gospels. My problem is not with the Jesus of the Gospels, Polly. My problem is with your particular version of Jesus. The version of Jesus that both tells his disciples not to diminish the law and yet does it himself and is therefore just the biggest fucking hypocrite on the planet. That's what I have a problem with. Not with the observant.
Yeah, you
Jewish
don't seem
Jesus.
original to me. So I mean,
you don't seem original.
Doesn't seem original.
Wow, you don't seem original to me. So I can.
You want to know why?
I say nonsense phrases too.
You want to know why? It may not seem
what
original.
Do you expect?
I'd see the problem is I don't believe you because I don't think you've ever read this.
We can
So
actually
I
have
think that this does seem original to you
talk.
because it's probably brand fucking new to you.
I just dropped him. If he's gonna
No.
be an ass the whole if she's gonna be an ass the whole time, then she can just go gladly fuck herself. But like if you've clearly never, as Ashlyn just said, you've clearly never read the Bible, Polly. And when someone comes along who has read the Bible and absolutely destroys your worldview, you have to lash out like a child. Ashlyn, we can hear you breathing. You have to lash out like an absolute fucking child, and it's hilarious. So congratulations, Polly, on being today's first horrible example of a Christian.
Yeah, it's crazy because my Bible in my NIV, it has the red letters, and that was red letters. So he just disagrees with Jesus. I thought that, like, I guess they can believe in Jesus but disagree with him. That, like, is that a Christian at that point?
I mean, pretty much sums up most Christians, actually. We're going to bring up our next guest, but first I'm going to read some super chats.
All right.
There was something weird going on with the sound.
Something weird going on with the sound?
No, try again.
Check 1, 2, 3.
All right, you're good.
All right. Mr. Super Lover with the $5. Something looks a bit different today. Are those new glasses?
Not exactly, but I do have another pair of glasses that I don't ever wear all that often. I do have another pair of glasses. I don't wear them all that often. They're a lot bigger than the other glasses. I'll let you guys decide which ones look better on me. Put it in the comment section or leave a super chat letting me know what you guys think.
I liked the bigger ones with your longer hair because you could see your eyes, but with the shorter hair, I like those.
It looks a bit weirder, yeah, with the shorter hair for sure.
At Brian Peck with the $2. Just give the pronouns.
Yeah, just so you know, if you do not give us pronouns, we will assign you pronouns. For being an obstinate little prick. But, you know, it is what it is. Sucks to... I mean, 6th grade is hard. I get it. For Polly, the 6th grade was hard.
At Luca with the 5 pounds, 5.99 pounds. I don't...
What do they call... Because in America, we say $5.99. Do they say 5 pounds and 99 pennies? What do you call? Oh wait, that's a euro. Fuck me. But also, and I don't know what the 5.99 euros.
At Laluca Kuka with the 5.99 euros. From where do some Christians get this name, Yahuwah? Is it just Hebrew woo? Anyways, the Yahuwah ninja punch is so funny. Right?
Yeah, I gotta make that a sound on the soundboard. The problem is that we just don't get enough Yahuwah people, who come up all that often for it to be like useful. But yeah, like there are some Christians out there who take God's name to be Yahuwah, and it's quite silly. It is really quite silly. The way they get the name Yahuwah. Yeah.
And it is Pence, Dalton. It's Pence.
It is Pence. Okay, I'll remember that. Penny and Pence. Here, let me bring up my iPad real quick, and I'll give you guys a quick instruction on how it is we came to not how we, but how some silly billies on the internet came to the conclusion that God's name was Yahuwah. Let's see, gallery. Where the hell did I put the oh, it's here. All right. All right. So, how did some people get the name Yahuwah instead of Yahweh? I've already given you guys instruction on how we came to the conclusion that God's name was Yahweh based on early sources that explicitly sound out the name of God using Greek letters. But the way that some Hebrew roots people or Black Hebrew Israelites come to the name of Yahuwah is that so in Hebrew, the name of the tribe of Judah looks very similar to the name for the name of God. So in Hebrew, Judah is spelled Yud Hey Vav Dalet Hey, which in Hebrew, which is actually pronounced as Yehu, Yehuda. Now these people who belong to the Hebrew roots movement often mispronounce Hebrew words. So they actually pronounce it not as Yehuda, but as Yahuda. And then they just noticed that, hey, if you take the Dalet out of the name Yahuda, it makes the Tetragrammaton, the forename of God. So now you get the Yod He Vav He. So they just remove the D sound and they come to the erroneous pronunciation of Yahuwah. But that's not how Hebrew works. You can't just remove a letter from a word and expect to come to the conclusion as to the pronunciation of said word, because even in Hebrew, you can have, here's a Aleph, Yud, Shin, cursive Hebrew, which could mean Ish, meaning man, or it could be the word Aish, meaning fire. So the same exact letters can have a different pronunciation. So taking away the letter Dalet from the name Yehuda wouldn't give you the pronunciation of the Tetragrammaton. So that's just, where they went wrong. So there's a quick little lesson for everyone. All right. I'm gonna bring up our next guest in the box, Brian Peck, who was one of the commenters who asked for the pronouns. Brian Peck, welcome, friend, to the show.
Oh, it's good to be here. I wasn't expecting a triple crash out on the first person. That's wild.
Yeah, well, pronouns are hard apparently. What brings you back up, Brian?
Oh, not a great deal. I was just wondering if we could get a breakdown of Yahushai, which is the new crazy Hebrew Israelite name that I've recently run across.
Yahushai. So, yeah, I mean, this one's a lot simpler, and although it has a lot, so the Black Hebrew Israelite individuals have their own made-up version of the Hebrew language. Now, as we just discussed a couple of days ago, everyone, the name of Jesus in Hebrew is Yeshua, and it's spelled Yud, Shin, Vav, Ayin. But there's a longer form of it, which would be the Hebrew name Yehoshua, which is the name Joshua, Yud, He, Vav, Shin, Ayin. That's just another version of Ayin, but you get the idea. Yehoshua. And because the way you can tell how the Hebrew word is pronounced is generally going to be by the usage of vowel points. But people in the Hebrew Roots movement and some people in the Hebrew Roots movement and people within Black Hebrew Israelite believe that the Hebrew we have today is a made up Hebrew because they consistently believe in conspiracy theories, and so they take this the Yud, the Hey, the Vav or Wow in ancient Hebrew, so it's pronounced like with a V sound. I mean a W sound. And then the Shin. Oh, here, let me get rid of all this over here. Then the Shin and the ayin, which doesn't really have a name attached to necessarily a pronunciation attached to it. It's kind of like a glottal stop. But anyways, they just attach an I to it, and they get to this, and they think that this is pronounced Yahawashai. It's like if you take all the vowels out of a word, unless you are a native speaker to the language, you're not going to know how said word is going to be pronounced. So they're just making up their own version of the Hebrew language. So that's how we get Yahawashai. Yeah. It's just
I'll head back down
bad
if you got
made up
someone leaving.
Hebrew. All right. Have a good day, Brian. All right. We're going to talk to
Bye, Brian.
We're going to talk to Jammin' J. Welcome to the live. I'm going to ask you 4 preliminary questions. Question number 1, are you at least 18 years old?
Yes.
Question number 2, are you a Bible believer?
No.
All right, then I'll skip question 3 and go to question 4. What pronouns do you prefer to go by?
He, him, please.
He, him. All right, Jammin' J. He, him. I'm Dalton, the Bible guy. What brings you up to the Bible Guy Show?
Dalton, it's a pleasure to speak with you. I'm a big fan of you. I'm a big fan of Justin. I'm a big fan of Ashlyn. I'm a big fan of everybody on the Discord. I wanted to know if there are better circumstances to bring up. So when the Bible talks about genocide, i.e., the Midianites versus the Amalekites, is there certain circumstances where one example is better to use than another?
The example that I often and frequently use, that's just the easiest to point out, is 1 Samuel chapter 15 verse 3, because it specifies like who it is that you're supposed to be wiping out, and it includes infants. So 1 Samuel chapter 15, pull it up on the screen. So, and if you read 1 Samuel chapter 15, verse 3, it's Samuel the prophet speaking to Saul. So this is God giving direction to the king, saying, now go and attack Amalek and utterly destroy all that they have. Do not spare them, but kill both man and woman, child and infant, ox and sheep, camel and donkey. So it's like very specific. It's not just grown non-combatants, but even children and infants. So this is my favorite one to bring up because it's just it shows you that it's a complete and utter genocide of all people groups, of all people within this ethnic group.
Sure. Okay. Well, I suppose then the genocide of the Midianites would be more appropriate to show that the command was to take the virgin girls as war trophies, essentially. Whereas in this circumstance, it was just
Sure. If you want the point to be about complete and total genocide, 1 Samuel 15 verse 3 is the good one. If you want to talk about like war brides taken captive and used as sex slaves, then yeah, the Midianite passage would be the more appropriate one. So it's about what point are you trying to bring up in the conversation? You cannot use either one of those two.
Well, excellent. Thank you very much for the information. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Have a good day, Jay.
You too, Duncan.
Bye.
Oh man, that's funny. All right, I'm gonna read some super chats. And then hopefully we'll get another guest in. All right.
At Calicia with the $5.
Before you do that, someone said that modern Hebrew is derived from Arabic or Aramaic. I don't think that that's true, but I'm not an expert on this language. I'm pretty sure they're more like cousins.
Yeah, Aramaic and Hebrew are sister languages. So,
sister.
There's a common ancestor to Aramaic and Hebrew, being the Proto-Semitic language. But modern day Hebrew is just taking biblical and Mishnaic Hebrew and building upon it with new, more modernized words. So, for example, Jewish people don't refer to God as Allah, which would be Arabic, and they don't refer to him as Allah, which would be the Aramaic. They call him Elohim or El or Eloah. These are all Hebrew words. So no, modern Hebrew isn't based on Aramaic. It's based on Mishnaic and biblical Hebrew that's just been given like new words, like the Hebrew word telephone, which means telephone. Yeah, you get it. But yeah,
I never guessed that
Never-
that word meant that. Wow.
never would have guessed. Surprisingly enough, this is actually a fun fact for anyone who doesn't know. The word for Christian in Hebrew is the Hebrew word notzri, which means Nazarene, which is what the New Testament refers to Christians as. In the early days, they call them the Nazarenes, and in Hebrew, they still call Christians Nazarenes. So that's just a
You want to just a quick side note. So Elias's mom does not speak English. She only speaks Arabic. For anyone who doesn't know, she's from Bethlehem. And so I was labeling all the kitchen stuff in Arabic. So I took pictures and had ChatGPT translate, like just go through the pictures. And it got them all right, apparently, except instead of from right to left, it did left from right. So now I have stickers all over my goods of backwards Arabic.
Well, I don't think we have to worry about the Terminator coming about anytime soon, guys. That's so funny. Caesar's a angel of the Lord came to her in a dream. Who? Caesar? Caesar's was a man, not a. Well, I don't know what you're referencing, MJ. Anyways.
At Drew Smith TPA with the $10. He doesn't understand Polly doesn't understand the difference between is not inspired and is not inspiring. Wow.
Yeah, Polly was not the brightest bulb in the basket for sure. Like I he's the second person to not understand what the text means, or I at the end of the day, I don't think that Polly didn't understand the difference. I think he was just being purposefully obtuse. But, you can't fix stupid, apparently.
And at House 70 with the $10, cannot expect someone who is tripped by pronouns to get the Bible is not inspired phrase.
I'm not in the least bit surprised that people are ripping into Polly right now. But well-deserved ripping, to be honest.
And at Corvin with the $6.66. Hail Nero. You are a wicked smart Bible guy. The fantasy of the Abrahamic God is a cancer on humanity. Keep being the light bringer and hail Satan.
Yeah, we will always, be pushing forward for more information, for the democratization of information and biblical scholarship over just dogma that is received. By the way, W everyone for the Christ Before Jesus raid. Thank you all for being here, and also thank you, Jaren, for pushing them all out over here. But yeah, absolutely. And thank you. I appreciate the compliment. Rome wasn't built in a day, and the knowledge that I have accrued also wasn't built in a day. Dusty says, "Is this guy really actually atheist?" This guy actually is atheist. Yes.
At Brian Peck with the $2. Jumbo crash out. Hate to see it.
Yeah, I mean, Paulie gave us multiple crash outs in one go. That's got to be a record. Don't let him behind the wheel.
Boosted, give us 1 second. I just pulled you up so you didn't feel like you were waiting forever. Just let him read the super chats, please.
Super chat.
Or
And at Calicia with the $5. Preemptive pronoun meltdown.
Yeah, we love and hate to see it at the same time. Boosted, welcome to the live. I'm going to ask you 4 preliminary questions, and then we can move on to the meat and potatoes of the conversation. Question number 1: are you at least 18 years old?
I am.
Question number 2: are you a Bible believer?
I am.
Question number 3: how much of the Bible have you read?
I couldn't give you a specific answer on that.
All right. And question number 4: what pronouns do you prefer to go by?
He, him.
All right. Boosted, he, him. I'm Dalton, the Bible guy. Which one of the 6 points on the board did you want to discuss with me?
Probably the Bible is not anti-abortion.
By the way, what year were you born?
February 1st, 2006.
And you said
I also have
old?
it tattooed on me, so
How old are you? 18?
19.
All right. Yeah, that checks out. He'll be 20 in February. Me too. I mean, I'll be 30 in February. But anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah, the Bible is not what?
Anti-abortion. Yep.
All right. Can you provide me with a Bible passage that is anti-abortion?
Did he think you were going to ask for evidence? He just said, nah, bro. Nah, that was just a trust me, bro.
All right. I guess we'll bring up the next guest instead. We got here. One second. We got here Rob DG. Rob, I'm going to ask you 4 preliminary questions. Then we can move on to the conversation. Question number 1: are you at least 18 years old?
Yep.
Question number 2: are you a Bible? You have something going on in the background. Can you turn that off?
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah. Sorry, what was the second question?
Are you a Bible believer?
No.
All right, then we'll skip question 3 and go to question 4. What pronouns do you prefer to go by?
He, him.
All right, Rob, he, him. I'm Dalton, the Bible guy. What brings you up to the channel?
Oh, yeah, I just saw the previous guy. You're asking him about I think it's the stoning a virgin on their wedding night passage.
Yeah.
I'm just curious because I was reading over like some commentaries and like kind of researching that. And I don't know, like this would be more of a problem for like biblical literalists, but there might be some people who are, I think can, like if someone has a different interpretation of that, I think they have like some weight behind it. Like, so I think like there are like Talmudic interpretations of that say, like for instance, when it says, sorry, just go to the passage again. It uses certain language.
Yeah. Here's the problem with citation of the Talmud. The authors of the Talmud, they're not the original recipients of the text of the Torah.
It's like rabbinic commentaries.
Yeah, and also rabbinic renegotiation with the text. The rabbis will often, like for example, you'll have a passage in the Torah where it says that the children of Israel at Mount Sinai that they stood Techat Hahar underneath the mountain, which literally this Techat here means that they were at the base of the mountain. But the rabbis take this and they run with it, so that Techat means that they were literally underneath the mountain, that God took the mountain of Sinai and lifted it over their head and said, you will observe this covenant or this will be your fate. So, I mean, the rabbis of the Talmudic period, we don't give a lot of stock into their interpretations, because really what they are doing is that they are coming to a text that wasn't written to them. It was written to their ancestors at a different time, different culture, even sometimes different language. They have to sometimes debate the meaning of certain Hebrew words. And they are trying their best to make sense of it based on their modern day like frameworks. And they were also like inspired by Hellenistic thought, for example. So they are attempting their best to renegotiate with the text of the Bible in order to make it more palatable for at their time, their modern audience.
Right. So it seems like a literal interpretation of this passage is something that like might even be extreme even for people like 2,000 years ago.
Unless they just didn't know.
Sorry, can you still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Unless they simply just didn't know that women didn't always bleed their first time having sex. a man seeing that a woman doesn't bleed her first time is going to take advantage.
That's
of
the
this
thing, though.
because...
I think they're.
Go on.
No, but I'm pretty sure. I don't remember where I read this, but there's some like academic paper that was talking about this passage, and I read this a while ago, so I forget where it said this. But apparently, back in the time period, like it wasn't, like it was apparently common knowledge that like, you know, a hymen doesn't work like that.
In
that,
the
like women
Talmudic,
aren't always going to bleed on their wedding night.
in the Talmudic
And
period,
and then
like,
also
around-
like so what I'm saying is when in Deuteronomy when it says that the parents will bring like the tokens of the daughter's virginity or whatever, that that doesn't necessarily have to be like a bloody cloth. It could just be like, you know, evidence of the daughter's good character or something.
So again, these are all Talmudic reinterpretations of the text, and while it is true that at least by the time that the Talmud is being compiled, which is around between the 2nd to 4th century CE, it has become now common knowledge that the hymen doesn't always break, mostly thanks to like Greek influence of like medical and physician care and whatnot. But prior to the Hellenization of the Jewish people, this wouldn't have been common knowledge.
This also doesn't. The quote from the text is, "I did not find evidence of your daughter's virginity, but here is the evidence of my daughter's virginity." Then they all spread out the cloth before the elders of the town. So I don't know where you're getting that from.
I'm not. It's just I was looking. I forget exactly where it says.
If you can find that paper, you're more than welcome to send it to me though, so I can review it to see whether or not the claim of the source is that the Israelites were aware of this, or that it was simply that Jewish people during the time period of the Talmud were aware of it.
Okay. No, I'm also seeing people in the chat saying he refused to open the Bible, but I'm not a believer, so I'm just saying this is more of a problem for literalists than it would be for like someone could say, like for example, the Talmud thing is more like it would be more if you're asking Orthodox Jews about it, but like if you're asking Christians about it, something they could point to is I think in Matthew it says that basically when Joseph knew that Mary was pregnant, even though they're engaged, that would be obviously that's a lot better evidence that Mary was unfaithful to Joseph than her just not bleeding on the wedding night. She's all of a sudden just pregnant, but it says that Joseph, I think being a righteous man, decided not to take her before the congregation. So basically the interpretation there would be that like
he decided to put her away quietly. In other words, he was going to divorce her, but it was not going to be a public event.
Yeah. Like he wasn't going to like have her stoned or anything like that. So I think the interpretation there would be, you know, because he's a righteous man, he decided not to do that. Whereas like a wicked person would do that.
They only say he was betrothed though as well, right?
Well, betrothed in this instance means that they are as good as married in that culture. In order to, if you're betrothed to a woman in ancient, well, not ancient Israel, but within first century Judaism, you need to sign a bill of divorce in order to like end the betrothal.
Yeah.
Now,
for the of their marriage.
It also isn't Deuteronomy 22 almost always interpreted to be referring to a woman who's betrothed.
Yeah, she's betrothed to her husband, and then they have sex.
Yeah. Like I think the John Gill commentary says that.
They're constantly
there's like
the
Bible
marriage in
commentaries that
this.
say that.
So within the Matthew chapter 1, Joseph would have to present the marriage cloth before the court in order to to condemn her. But they haven't had sex yet, so he can't do that. So it's not even an option for him. He would have to have sex with her in order to procure the token cloth in order to present it to the Sanhedrin. Also, by the time of the 1st century CE, we already have a development of post-Torah traditions that make it extremely difficult to have an individual stone. While it would be more, it would be more easier to stone someone in the ancient world. By the time you get to the 1st century, there are a lot of Jewish traditions that have arisen that make the stoning of an individual extremely hard to get to. You have to meet so many different barriers.
I think you also see that in like later. Like most countries that do have like death penalty for adultery or something like that, it's very rarely carried out because there's like procedural, like, you know, I think even in the U.S. early U.S. colonies, like before, like back when adultery was still punishable by death, I think in over like 200 years, there's only like one case of somebody actually being executed for adultery.
Yeah,
even when it was like a Puritan colony or whatever.
So the important point to remember when we're having this conversation is that we need to make a distinction between what did the ancient Israelites believe and do versus what did Jewish individuals during the Second Temple period believe and do, because those aren't the same thing.
Right. I'm just saying that like because not everyone treats the Bible like it's univocal and inerrant. And like word for word. Yeah, I know. It's just it like there's a lot of various Christian traditions that like would go by what what was historically practiced in Israel versus what Deuteronomy literally says.
Well, no, what historically happened in ancient Israel is there was no Torah. The Torah wouldn't have been written down until around the 6th century BCE. So, and even then, what we find in the Torah is mostly just propaganda. That's scribal tradition and rigorous practice for writing, not something that was actually ever carried out or actual law within ancient Israel. But once it is law, it's not practiced in the same way as soon as it is implemented during the time of Ezra, as it would be during the time of Jesus, and as it would be during the time of the writing of the Talmud. So whatever the Talmud has to say about the interpretation of the Torah, most scholars wouldn't take all that seriously, because they are, at the end of the day, they are renegotiating with the Hebrew Bible, and their interpretation is no better than the interpretation of like modern day Orthodox Jews.
Yeah, even though I know that like that is a reinterpretation of what the text literally says, like I would still prefer someone who goes with the reinterpretation versus someone who says, well, the Bible says you stone someone who's a virgin, so fuck it.
For sure, morally speaking, that reinterpretation and renegotiation is better for the women of ancient Israel than what would have actually been practiced.
And it's important to point that out, that's a Talmudic interpretation, because the Talmud says a bunch of other stuff that's not good, but like when you see like anti-Semitic memes about the Talmud and stuff, it's good to say, hey, look, the Talmud also says, so there's other parts of the Talmud that are like improvements on like the text.
Yeah,
what the law of Moses actually says.
Yeah, due to their influence from Hellenistic culture, the Jewish people got better, morally speaking. But that just happens with every culture. As time progresses, they become morally more upright. So, and usually kicking and screaming. But, they get dragged into the light of like moral progress. But hey, Rob, thank you for coming up, and you have a wonderful day.
Yeah. All right, I just saw the other guy, and I thought it was because I just thought about that. So that's why. But yeah, interesting. Yeah, thanks.
All right, let's see. I'm gonna read some more super chats. Hopefully, we'll get some opposition in here from Christians or Jewish individuals who would like to debate one of the 6 points on the board. So until then, we're gonna read some super chats. And
at Carlos Valdez sending the 10 Bible Guy gift memberships. W. Carlos Valdez.
Carlos, I think you send more Bible Guy gift memberships than any other individual on the channel, so hats off to you, good sir.
And at Drew Smith TVA with the $5. Even our own military has the right to reject any order that is illegal.
I missed the context. What was the context for this one? Ash?
in the order that's illegal. When I think it was, I brought up Deuteronomy 22. I think this was about Deuteronomy 22. But I'm not certain, to be honest. Hey, Drew,
Yeah.
if you send a thing in the chat, and I'll address it, because I'm pretty sure it was because I mentioned Deuteronomy 22 to Polly.
Polly Pocket.
Polly wants a cracker.
At House 70 with the $5. Not one stroke of a letter. Yeah, but he shrank it like Jerry's shirt.
Yeah, that's an impeccable logic. Jesus said to not diminish the least bit of the law. Jesus diminished the law. Yeah.
Drew said about rejecting laws. Thank you for the clarification, Drew. We appreciate you.
There you go. That makes more sense.
Yeah, it was. I'm pretty sure it was during Polly's conversation.
Lone Drew says we can combat anti-Semitism without defending abhorrent scriptures. Absolutely true. Lone Drew, absolutely true.
Drew Smith again with the $10, and these callers have zero curiosity as to whether there are better translations than the King James Version.
One of these days, I feel like I'm gonna run a King James Version of the Shit Bible translation live and see if we get any takers. I feel like there aren't that many KJV onlyers though, but yet for some reason I've gotten like at least 5 in the past couple weeks. So maybe we'll get the nutters to come in and we'll discuss the KJV and why it's a shit translation. Yeah, KJV onlyism is hilarious. If I get the original Hebrew of the Old Testament and the original Greek and the New Testament, somehow the King James Version is superior to that. Make it make sense, people.
At Fern Love Bond with the $2. If you refuse, you get neo-pronoun folly. These are...
Absolutely. Maybe I should... People like Polly, just the worst. They are
confused. She would be so confused. Excuse me. I keep messing up her pronouns. I'm so sorry.
Misgendering her, yeah.
I am misgendering her. Polly, she would be quite confused if we started referring to her as Z and Zer. I guarantee you, she doesn't know neopronouns.
And
at Drew Smith TPA again with the $5. With euros, it's not pence, it's cents.
By the way, do you know why we refer to the penny as a cent?
Does it smell good?
No, it's called a cent because it's 1% of a dollar.
I thought it had nice scents because copper smells good to me.
That's cent with an S.
I know, Dalton.
Just checking. And then special.
A special super chat from our friend Justin at the Deconstruction Zone with the $10. Another Yahuwah method I've heard is an attempt to combine Yahoo was used in elephantine with Yahovah, a bad reading of Yahweh.
Yeah, that's another method that's used. So sometimes God's name is pronounced as Yahu. So for example, if we see at the ending of certain Hebrew names, like Elijah in Hebrew is Eliyahu, my God is Yahu is what that means. Or you have Ezekiel, Yechezkel. Wait, that's Yechezkel means strengthen God, doesn't have the theophoric element. Jeremiah, Yirmiyahu has the Yahu ending at the end. So Yahu, not just a chocolate drink, but also a short form of the theophoric name. But when that, in AJ Everyday, that's another good example. Just like the Jewish reggae singer and also the individual who led the Maccabean revolt, there is Mattisyahu, which is also Matthew's name in like Mattisyahu is how you would pronounce it in like Yiddish. Matithyahu in biblical Hebrew. Glitter said, Yahuwah Shua Shama Shamyo Mamas Ha Hua Shashua Shashua Hoshuhui. Whoa, I'm floating. Just cast a spell. Save that for the Halloween episode. Let's see. Check my nope, no guest yet. So we're gonna keep reading some super chats.
At RM12500 with the $5. Are statements like the Earth is a disc, it has a dome, mating animals beat by a straight pole, meant to be taken as literal facts? What else could they be?
This is true. Like the Bible repeatedly says that. So one of the things that Christians have to do in order to make the Bible continue to be true, despite the fact that it contains many errors, is to say, well, listen, when the Bible says that the earth, that the sky is like a casted mirror, that's not meant to be taken literally. Or when it says that the earth is shaped like the seal, like a clay seal, that's not meant to be taken literally. What the hell is the earth is shaped like a clay seal supposed to be a metaphor for?
Before you move on,
yeah.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were done with this. There's a super chat. I don't know. Read it before you put it up. I don't know if we should. We can explain why we shouldn't do this, but I don't know if it's appropriate or not.
Which one?
It's the very last one. No, the second to the last one. Sorry.
No, I can read that, but I can also like point out the problems with like that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's fine. Okay. Yeah, like, and also the mating animals by a straight pole. This is all just magic in the Bible. Flat Earth and magic. It's no different than Tolkien's writings. I don't understand how one could metaphorize the work. So yeah.
At Mike Bowen with the $4.99. How did Jesus lose his life? It slipped right through his hands.
Oof. Can you imagine how much it would suck to be Jesus post-resurrection and trying to bend over a stream and trying to like get a drink of water with your hands? Just, oh, shit. Got to use magic at that point. Got to use magic. But also, funny joke. Oh, and then
at Mr. Morpheus with the $2. Isaiah 53. Isaiah been dead 100 years by then.
This is true. This is true. Isaiah 53, for anyone who doesn't know, wasn't written by the historical prophet Isaiah ben Amoz. So typically when it comes to the book of Isaiah, which is made up of 66 different chapters, scholars consider that the first 39 chapters of Isaiah were either written by Isaiah or more likely written by the scribe of Isaiah. Isaiah is mentioned throughout Isaiah's chapters 1 through 39, with a few exceptions. But as soon as you get to Isaiah chapter 40 onwards, these are works that were written by other individuals at a later date than the time of the prophet Isaiah. The Isaiah 53 belongs to a section of Isaiah called Deutero-Isaiah, or Second Isaiah. And don't you dare compare the Old Testament to Tolkien. My bad. I don't mean to disrespect Tolkien. Tolkien's works is far better than the Bible. But anyways, Deutero-Isaiah is consider Isaiah chapters 40 through 56 or 55. Isaiah 40 through 55. And this section where Isaiah 53 is located was written around the time of the release of the Babylon exiles by Cyrus the Great. So not written by the historical prophet of Isaiah.
At House 70 with the $5. Here's my token of appreciation. Please don't stone me too hard. Rock hard for Dud.
Token appreciation. I see what you did there. Love that, bud. And then at Wax Wheeze with the $4.99. Is anti-Semitism still a thing, considering what they are doing to Gaza? It's literal genocide. What the state of Israel is doing to Gaza is genocide, but anti-Semitism is still very much a real thing. If you are pestering someone or bullying someone or what's the word I'm looking for? Persecuting someone due to the fact simply that they are Jewish or Arab, this is anti-Semitism, and we do not accept it under any circumstances. You can hate the state of Israel all you want, but you should never hate someone just because of their ancestry or because
there are plenty of Jewish individuals who say the phrase "never again" means never for anyone, and they are in reference to the Holocaust. So it is not true. There are tons of Jewish activists who are against what is happening to the Palestinian people. So yeah, please don't do this. To conflate this is just a gross misrepresentation of Jewish individuals.
Also, there's a whole group of ultra-Orthodox Jews out there who, one, believe that the state of Israel is malformed and it's not from God, and two, they are pro-Palestine and against the genocide performed by modern day the state of Israel. So being Jewish doesn't mean you have to be a Zionist, and it doesn't mean you have to support the state of Israel, and we should not be speaking negatively about Jewish people. We only speak negatively about the state of Israel. And fuck Israel.
At Mr. Morpheus with the $2. Yahweh was a son of Al in the Canaanite pantheon.
This is true. And for anyone who doesn't know this, if we have very, very old segments of the book of Deuteronomy. That's not what I meant to pull up. 1 second. Here, let me actually pull it up for everyone to read. Deuteronomy, chapter, I believe it's 32. Let's see. Let me turn this off real quick. Oop. When we read Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 9, we see here it says, we'll start in verse 8. When the Most High, in Hebrew, this is El Elyon, when El Elyon apportioned the nations, when he divided humankind, he fixed the boundaries of the peoples according to the number of the gods. Yahweh's own portion was his people. Jacob, his allotted share. So the idea here is that this is a part of the Hebrew Bible that was written at a time before Yahweh and El, the chief god of Canaan, were conflated to become one deity. Prior to this conflation, you had the chief god at the very tip top of this of the hierarchy, which was the god El, sometimes called El Elyon, God Most High, El Shaddai, God of the mountains, or El Olam, God of eternity. But he's the chief deity, and El Elyon has 70 children who are also gods. They are the sons of El, and amongst the sons of El, one of them was Yahweh. Here we are reading that in the section of Deuteronomy. Actually, it's a bit small on the YouTube screen. I might need to make it a bit bigger. Wait a minute. There we go. Here, El Elyon is apportioning the nations. I mean, he's looking at all the nations. He's got all these 70 sons, because also remember that in ancient Israel, they believed that there were 70 nations. And Yahweh and El had 70 sons. So what did he do? He divided the nations and then distributed each of his children to be the gods over each particular nation. And this text is saying that his son Yahweh was given the portion of Israel. Later on, and especially in like Psalm 82, we see the conflation of Yahweh with El, and that's why in the Hebrew Bible, the Torah, sometimes God is called El, sometimes he's called Yahweh. It's because there's two different traditions going on here. All right. And
at Carlos Valdez with the 200 pesos. I give away subs because I care and love you guys as a community. And all of you have been a great support for my life and personal struggles Hats off to you. Better than fake Christian preachers, pastors, and apostles. Thanks.
Look at that, guys. Much love from Carlos Valdez to the Duncanite community. We very much appreciate everything, all the subs you give out, Carlos, and I'm happy for all the people who get to be a part of that. Carlos Valdez, absolutely 100%. Glad that I'm doing better than a TV preacher.
At Waxweeze with the $1.99. Thanks for clearing that up. I thought it was Jews.
No. Yeah, Israel, Jewish people can be very good, wonderful people. By default, most people are good and wonderful, I think. It's just that state of Israel, not great. It's like saying you wouldn't hate all Germans and be bad and speak negatively against Germans just because of what Hitler did in the 1940s. Like, there were Germans who were on our side and that were working against the state of Germany at the time. So same thing going on here.
I didn't say it last time. Free Palestine, guys. Free Palestine. From the river to the sea.
From the river to the sea. That makes me want to listen to that one song you showed me a long time ago. All right.
Macklemore?
Yeah.
At Mr. Morpheus with the $10. Hebrew script evolved directly from the Canaanite script. El is a Canaanite god, but Canaan was cursed. The cursed people of God, a holy book written in a cursed people script in the land of Canaan.
Yeah, so this is a good point that there is a tradition about the people of Israel that they come from a man named Abraham from Ur of the Chaldeans. However, in reality, the ancient Israelites were probably just another group of Canaanites who never came from Ur of the Chaldeans. They were just another group of Canaanites. When we look at the ancient Hebrew text, actually, we'll get to that in a second. I have a guest on YouTube. We don't get YouTube guests all that often. So let me see if I got this all set up and ready to go. Let's see. Hello, guest. Let me make sure you can hear me. Hello, guest. Can you hear me? Hello? Guest? They may not be connected all the way. Hello? You're not muted right now. I don't think I'm muted right now.
Tell him to check his audio source.
Yeah, make sure you check your audio source, guest, and make sure that your mic is hooked up and turned on. Here, reconnecting their mic. Hello? And they disappeared. Maybe they'll come back in. But the Hebrew Bible, if you look at the Hebrew language, here, I'll show you guys what you're pretty much when you think about the Hebrew language, the kind of Hebrew language that you're probably familiar with is this one right here. This is the Hebrew language that you're probably more familiar with. What we call block Hebrew. This is the alphabet that the Jewish people acquired when they went to Babylon. This is the alphabet that they would go on to use. Now, prior to the Babylonian captivity, the language that the ancient Israelites used to write the alphabet, they spoke the same language, but the alphabet that they used to write the Hebrew language in looks like this. We call this Paleo Hebrew. Remember what this looks like, because when we take a look at the Canaanite alphabet, It's the same exact alphabet. It's because the Hebrew language was just another dialect of the Canaanite languages. In fact, if you read the book of Isaiah, chapter 19, the prophet there refers to the Hebrew language as the language of Canaan. Let's see. Isaiah chapter 19. Let's see. I can just do this. There we go. Verse 18 of chapter 19 of book of Isaiah. On that day there will be 5 cities in the land of Egypt that speak the language of Canaan and swear allegiance to Yahweh of hosts. One of these cities we call City of the Sun. So we see here that in ancient Israel, they pretty much understood that their language was, quote, the language of Canaan, which is why in Canaanite language, the chief god's name was El. That's also the name, one of the names of God in the Hebrew Bible. They spoke the same language, just variation in dialect and whatnot. Let's see. And
a simple programmer with the $5. Just so you know, the bottom parts of longer super chats are getting cropped, at least on YouTube Wars. Yeah, I noticed that. I don't know how to fix that. I'll have to ask. Maybe it's something in the settings. But I'm noticing that too, which is why I keep having to look over here to read the longer.
Which is why I had to keep looking over here to look at the actual super chat so I can read them on the board, because sometimes they seem to get chopped off the longer they are. But hey, W to all my horrors out there. Love you guys. What is going on over here in the comment section? Red Rover, let Joseph the snake come over. Michael Joseph Abraham. What is all this? 5.4 hair of yellow, eyes of green. MJ, is this some sort of limerick I'm not aware of?
No, they go in all the atheist chats and say, I don't know if they speak English, so I don't think they're trying to translate and not doing a good job, or they just say nonsense if they do primarily speak English. But this individual goes to Blitz's lives, goes to the Unapologetic lives, goes to, I think, even Ian's lives. I haven't really been watching Ian recently.
Well, I feel special now. MJ says, Cain was not his brother's keeper. Seth, baby brother. Cain slew his brother. He did not slay. Why have you done these? This is just Genesis chapter 4. Why are you giving me Genesis chapter 4? All right. Anyways, everyone, make sure you're tapping that screen, share the live out with those you love, with those you hate. Maybe I'm gonna do a restart on the TikTok side, and hopefully that'll bring in some more opposition. So I'm gonna do a quick restart, everyone. Come right back, everyone. 1 second. Ending now. And then bring them back in. Oh, and I also it sounds like I got a TikTok, a YouTube guest. I can hear them. Hello. Hello, guest.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Here. Test 1 2 3. Give me a little test.
Nairobi.
All right. Hello, guest. My name is Dalton, the Bible guy. Welcome to the show. I'm going to ask you 4 preliminary questions, and then we can get this conversation rolling. So, question number 1, guest, what should I call you? Actually, 5 questions, because I need to know, what should I call you?
You can call me Risk.
Disc?
Risk.
Risk. All right, Risk.
Yeah.
I'm Dalton, the Bible guy. I'm going to ask you 4 questions. Question number 1, are you at least 18 years old?
Yeah, I'm 24.
All right, question number 2, are you a Bible believer?
Agnostic.
Agnostic. All right. Then question number 3, how much of the Bible have you read?
All of it.
All right. And question number 4, what pronouns do you prefer to go by? Do you go by he, him, she, her, or they, them?
He, him.
All right. Risk, he, him. I'm Dalton the Bible Guy. Which one of the 6 points on the board did you wish to discuss with me?
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm a Duncanite from Kenya. I'm sorry if I'm going to mix up things, but I just wanted to call to appreciate you. And I saw Justin too on the call, on the board. So shout out to him. And
Well,
yeah,
shout out to Kenya. Love to hear you calling in from Kenya, bud.
Yeah, it's 3 a.m. here.
Well, I'm glad that 3 in the morning?
Yeah, in the morning.
Holy hell. Well, I'm glad that I can be one of the last voices you listen to before you go to bed, bud.
Yeah. So you guys pulled me out from a cult, man.
Hey, listen, that's why we do what we do. If we can help people like think about why they believe what they believe and hopefully make your life a little bit better and make the world a little bit better, then it was all worth it in the end.
Okay, thank you. So I just wanted to throw in a quick question.
Sure.
Maybe if you allow. There's this research group called Aware. I don't know if you know about it.
What's the name of the group?
Aware. They investigate these NDEs, paranormal things,
okay,
and whatever. So my question is, the lead researcher from there kind of found out that consciousness proceeds after brain activity is dead for at least about some hours, if I'm not wrong.
That after someone dies, that they remain somewhat conscious for a few hours?
Yeah. So don't you think this is a problem maybe for an atheist? Or, yeah.
For an atheist? No, I don't think it's a problem for anyone who's an atheist, because at the end of the day, whatever, if there is some sort of remnant of consciousness within the brain even after death, it doesn't really tell us anything about where that consciousness is coming from. As far as I would know, it's still something that's coming forth from the brain. It's just the brain as it is still dying and still hasn't like stopped functioning all the way. So really, at the end of the day, by the way, if you're an atheist, you can believe in souls. So this wouldn't prove a problem for atheism. It's more of a question of naturalism. And I would say as a naturalist, this doesn't pose a problem for us.
An atheist can believe in souls?
Dalton, just FYI, you want to know what's funny about self-firing? It actually takes more energy.
Okay.
It takes
One second, guess. My co-host is saying something right now, and the problem is right now I have it set up to where the YouTubers can't hear the TikTokers, and the TikToker can hear you, but you can't hear them. So just 1 second while she says something to me.
Yeah, it actually there's two signals, fire and no fire, and this is like very basic. But when that occurs, the no fire part is actually what takes ATP. That's the part of the cell that needs the energy. It's not the fire part. The fire part happens because of negatively and positively charged ions moving through ion gates. So after someone unalives, it would make sense why there's a lot of firing still happening.
My co-host Ashlyn just gave us a technical explanation for like why that is, that you would still see some form of consciousness after death. I'm not going to be able to repeat it because it's not the psychology. She's very smart. After you get done listening, after you get off the call with me, go back and listen to what she has to say, because she's got a degree in psychology. She knows what the hell she's talking about. As an atheist, you can be, all that's required to be an atheist is that you don't believe in a god. You can believe in spirits and an afterlife and all that kind of stuff and still be considered an atheist. I'm not only an atheist, I'm also a naturalist. So I believe that the only thing that exists is like nature and no supernature. So that's a completely separate worldview altogether.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Don't want to waste much time. That's what I wanted to ask.
Hey, never a waste of time to hear from a fan. So hey, thank you for calling in, Risk, and you have a good night's sleep.
Thank you. You too. Good day.
You too. I only wish I wanted if I had to pick a if I just pick a superpower, I would love to have the ability to be able to speak any language. That way I could tell guests good night or goodbye in their own tongue and, you know, speak to their heart a little bit.
Yeah, and just to be like very, very clear about what this means is it means that ATP like depletion stops like the controlled firing. It doesn't that means why we can expect to see like a lot of weird things. It's one of the reasons. There are many other reasons why. But that's just one of this because action potential propagation is the thing that uses electrochemical gradients. It's not like maintaining and so like that. Just very clear, there's a lot of things that's going on in the cell. Ionization, meaning charged particles moving back and forth, repelling and going through gradients, is one part, but energy production and the use of that in the cell is another.
All right. We got another guest on right now. Guest, what is your name? Yeah, I'm referring to you. I don't have a name for you on the YouTube. Hello, guest. Can you hear me on YouTube? You're wearing glasses. You got your camera on. Red shirt. Shell necklace.
This is Carlos. Carlos Valdez.
Hello. Is this Carlos Valdez?
Yes, this is Carlos Valdez.
Oh,
Carlos. There's a quick shout. So you can say, okay, this is the guy who's always putting all the subs in Justin's streams and your streams and trying to find Joel and that kind of stuff. So this is Carlos Valdez.
Happy Carlos. It's happening to me. I'm so glad to meet you and to hear your voice and see your face. It's always a pleasure when I get to speak with someone who's always a frequent commenter. Carlos, thank you so much for all that you do for the channel.
Happy to see you guys. Thanks for everything you have done for me. That's simple as that.
All right. Love doing what we do, and I'm always happy to be of assistance.
Sure. So I'm not taking any more time, so go ahead and enjoy the day. I will finish and enjoy this time. Thank you very much for the time.
All right. You have a wonderful day, Carlos.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I'm so sad I couldn't say hi, but if you watch this back, Carlos, I say hi too. We appreciate you.
Yeah, sometime this week I'm going to get with Justin on getting that all figured out so that we can be able to have crosstalk between TikTok and YouTubers. Lovely. I'd love to see that. All right. More super chats.
Again, at Mr. Morpheus with the $5. Dalton, 10 Commandments couldn't be in Hebrew. The script didn't exist till the 10th century BCE. Circa 1000 BCE. Oh, great show, buddy.
This is true. Hebrew as its own formal dialect didn't exist around the 1400s BCE, which is when the Exodus allegedly would have taken place. So if there was a real Exodus, it would have had to have been written either in a Canaanite tongue, a previously existing Canaanite dialect, or in an Egyptian dialect. Could not have been written in Hebrew. That's because the Torah as we have it today was formally compiled in the 6th century BCE during the Babylonian exile. For more information, everyone, if you want to see more information on the origin of the Torah, one second. Another book recommendation for the audience. The Composition of the Pentateuch by Joel S. Baden, Joel Baden is one of the foremost authorities on the documentary hypothesis, and he goes throughout the entire book explaining and giving a thorough examination of the Pentateuch, the 5 books of Moses, and shows you how we come to the conclusion that the Pentateuch was not written by a singular individual, aka Moses, as Moses probably didn't exist, but also it goes into detail about how the 4 sources that make up the Pentateuch were brought together to form what we have now as the Torah. So make sure you get a copy of that book if you want more information on this. MJ, you just keep saying nonsense, and quite frankly, I ain't about it. So I'm just gonna put you in timeout, so that people can say things that are worthwhile saying in the comment section. All right, and then
at Carlos Valdez, who now we've seen, who sent 5 more of the Bible Guy gift memberships. W. Carlos Valdez.
Absolutely. Loved, so glad I got to finally talk to you, bud.
And I am the Big Cheese with the $4.99. What ideological explanation that you find most compelling about the story of Jacob and Esau? It's strange that Jacob is not the villain of the story.
So I have to ask, I am the Big Cheese, when you ask about ideological explanations, are we talking about, so for anyone who doesn't know, an ideology is a story which is given, that is given in order to give an explanation for the origin of a certain like social or like cultural or even natural sort of phenomenon within nature. So for example, ask the question, why do women have trouble, why do they have much pain when they go into labor, and why are they subservient to men? Why do men work the field so hard, and why do snakes get trampled on by men? The book of Genesis chapter 3 creates a story that serves as an etiology, an origin for those phenomenon. Now, the Jacob and Esau story, apparently the only ideology, the ideology that I find the most interesting is the fact that so Esau as a person and Jacob as well probably didn't exist. Now, there was a land in the region of Canaan called Edom, and Edom or Edom means red, and that land is probably called Edom, red, because of like the terrain is red over there. It's a lot of red stone around there, and it's called the land of red, the land of Edom. Now, the Hebrew Bible often has to create characters and tie them to different people groups or different lands in order to give rise an explanation for the origin of names for places. So the Pentateuch has a character named Esau, who has his name changed to Edom, red, because he trades in his birthright for red stew. I think it's quite interesting that probably the reason that place that he lives in a land, and that land ends up be called the land of Edom. But in reality, it's probably called the land of Edom because of the red content of the terrain over there, not because of an individual named Edom. This is like a classical example of the Torah presenting us with an individual whose name goes on to be the inspiration for a people group or a region. I find that to be the most interesting.
At J Tullius with the $5. Would you debunk Daniel 2 in the 4 kingdoms, please?
In regards to debunking it, so for anyone who doesn't know, in the book of Daniel, chapter 2, the king Nebuchadnezzar has a vision in a dream where he sees a giant statue, and in the statue has like a head of gold and arms and breasts of, like, I believe it's silver, and thighs of bronze, and feet mixed of bronze with clay, something like that. Different parts of the body with different like metal types, and each of these metal types correspond to a kingdom. the book of Daniel says that the head of gold represents Babylon, and then the preceding 3 kingdoms afterwards represent 3 more kingdoms that arise after Babylon. Now, most Christians believe that the kingdoms that arise after Babylon are Medo-Persia as the second kingdom, and then Greece as the third kingdom, and then the fourth kingdom they think is Rome. And it says in the book of Daniel that at the time of the fourth kingdom, which Christians interpret as being Rome, that God would set up his kingdom in the world. So they think that, well, since Jesus came during the time of the Roman Empire, that fulfills the prophecy. However, most scholars are convinced that the fourth kingdom is not intended to be Rome, but rather is intended to be the Seleucid Empire, which was when the kingdom of Greece was ruled by Alexander the Great. After Alexander died, he didn't have an heir, so his kingdom was divided amongst his 4 generals, one of them being Seleucus. Seleucus got the region of like Palestine today. And during the time of the Maccabean revolt, the Seleucid Empire was like persecuting the Jewish people, and Antiochus Epiphanes IV, who was the descendant of Seleucus, was the great enemy of the Jewish people. So the author of Daniel, who was actually not living during the time of the Babylonian exile, but during the time of the Seleucid kingdom, is writing this story with the idea that the fourth kingdom is the kingdom that's persecuting him and his people at that time, being the Seleucid Empire. If you want more information on this, I suggest you read John J. Collins' commentary to the book of Daniel from the Hermeneia series. It goes into a lot of detail. It's one of the most scholarly credited like Bible commentaries out there. Good. I didn't have my voice changer on for that whole thing. I sometimes forget to turn it off. That would have been crazy. And then
Art Mr. Morpheus with the $2. Mark chapter 4 verse 10. Jesus doesn't want you forgiven. LOL.
Mark, let's take a look real quick. Is that the passage about the unforgivable sin? Let's take a look. Mark chapter 4 verse 10. When he was alone, those who were around him along with the 12 asked him about the parables. That I think maybe you might be misquoting and giving us a wrong Bible verse there, Mr. Morpheus. Mark 4:10 says, when he was alone, those who were around him along with the 12 asked him about the parables. Are you referring to the passage in Mark where Jesus talks about the unforgivable sin? I don't know what this is in reference to, but thank you for the super chat.
That's Sonic's room with the $5 Australian.
Good eye, mate.
Life was given to us 1 billion years ago. The opening line to Lucy.
Lucy with Scarlett Johansson? It's built upon a very false premise that we only use 10% of our brain. But as a science fiction movie, it's one of my favorite science fiction films. Ashlyn, have you seen Lucy?
The sci-fi movie?
Yeah,
we don't talk about Lucy in neuroscience. I mean, we do. We just we use more than 10% of our brain. Okay, we use 100%.
Yes. I just told them all that, but yeah.
Okay. So one of my first lectures, in intro to behavioral neuroscience, was my professor talking about Lucy, and just creaming it, just absolutely.
That phrase means something very different to me. But when someone creams something, never mind. So
you mash it, Stolten.
Yeah, that's how you get cream out of somebody. You mash them. Anyways.
Oh my god.
Anyways, if I could have Scarlett Johansson's voice in my ear 24/7, I 100% would do it. I was super disappointed when OpenAI stopped using the Sky voice, because it sounded a lot like ScarJo, and I loved that voice, and she just has a wonderful voice. All right.
At Sonisham again with the 5 Australian dollars.
Crikey, mate.
People want me to do everything for them, but what they don't realize is they have the power.
You wanted me to read this is a Morgan Freeman quote from Bruce Almighty.
People want me to do everything for them, but what they don't realize is they have the power.
Bruce Almighty, such a funny movie, and what a perfect use for the 5 Australian bucks to have me read a Morgan Freeman quote. Morgan Freeman was also in Lucy, so there's a theme.
At House 70 with the $6.66. Hail Nero. After getting his feet pierced, did Jesus lose his flotation device?
Yeah, I mean, look, wouldn't it be funny if if it turned out Jesus was real, but also we found out that he had just the biggest, flattest feet and a giant tail, and he's able to run on water like one of those lizards. What was that? Oh, we have a guest. I'm gonna bring him on. All right. How do I get the camera? There we go. Hello, guest.
Hello.
I'm Dalton the Bible Guy. What should we call you?
You can call me Apostate Exam. I'm a friendly.
Oh, okay. Hello, Apostate. Apostate Exam. I'm Dalton the Bible Guy, and then I'm guessing you're over 18, and you're not a Bible believer. And what pronouns do you prefer to go by?
He, him.
He, him. Welcome, Apostate, to the Bible Guy Show. What brings you on?
I wanted to pick your brain on something I found funny, and I couldn't find a good answer for it in my crappy online research.
Okay. I'm game.
Our favorite chapter of all, Mark 7. I was reading that. I'm reading that, Jesus has beef with the Pharisees, and the first thing he seems to take issue with is that they wash their hands before a meal. Jesus having beef with that is some real RFK Jr. shit. And
I'll tell you this: it has nothing to do with hygiene, nothing to do with physical hygiene. The washing of the hands is a Jewish ceremony. So if you remember in the Old Testament that before the priests would do a sacrifice, they would wash themselves. Well, the Pharisees had a practice where they saw themselves as, because of the fact that the Old Testament says that the people of Israel are a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. The job of every Israelite is to be a priest in a sense. So they decided to take some of the ceremonies which were unique for the Levites and to start practicing them in the home. So because the altar in the temple is called the Shulchan Adonai, the table of the Lord, well, therefore our dinner table is like an altar, and the food we offer is like the sacrifice to God, and therefore we ought to wash up and to be ritually and ceremonially clean before we engage with the eating. Now, this was a tradition. This tradition, by the way, is called Netilat Yadayim in Hebrew. And Jesus's problem with this was not that people want to practice a tradition, but because they are like saying, "Well, listen, you're condemning my followers for engaging in this ceremonial hand washing tradition that's not in the Torah." Even though you often will break God's commandment in favor of your own tradition. So it has nothing to do with hygiene and everything to do with ceremonial and ritual cleansing.
Yes, and I was partially aware of that. I just thought that was a really funny aspect to it, because it does sound like RFK stuff. Like, I mean, you can just imagine they're out fishing all day and gutting fish, and they show up, and Peter's like bare fist in the hummus, and the Pharisees are like, "What the fuck?" And then he's like, "Wow, you don't even execute your unruly children." And anyway, so he goes so hardcore on the law of Moses and why this tradition is dumb. And then in the next phrase, it's like he takes the apostles aside. He's like, "Oh, by the way, whatever comes into your body doesn't harm you. It's only what comes out." And now it seems like in the very next swing, he's taken a jab at the dietary laws, even though he was upholding the strict law of Moses right before that. And I could not figure out, like, what's the deal? It almost sounds like that might have been added later, and I couldn't find any research for that.
This is not really a jab at the dietary laws, it's so much as it's the idea is that, so if you were to ask a Jewish person what is food, pork is not food. Lamb is food, though. Food is whatever is deemed clean and appropriate by God. The Pharisees were teaching that even if you ate something that was kosher, like a lamb, but you didn't perform the action of Netilat Yadayim, you would render ritually unclean even kosher food. And there's actually a Jewish author who wrote a book, and he has something to say about this if you want more information on this from a Jewish perspective. So this guy is a believing, not a believing Jew. He's a Jewish person who practices Orthodox Judaism. He's not a Christian. But he wrote a book called Kosher Jesus. His name is Rabbi Shmuley Boteach. Just type in his book. Yeah, Rabbi Kosher Jesus book. You can find it. He talks a little about this. Even he agrees with Jesus on this point that being that it's not enough to simply wash your hands. If you don't have a clean heart, then it doesn't matter how many times you wash your hands. It renders everything impure. So Jesus is not saying that you can eat whatever you want. He means that not participating in this tradition of the elders will not render food unclean.
Interesting. I think the Bible passage I have has a like footnotes that are suggesting that he's challenging the dietary laws, but it is an old Bible that I got from when I was Mormon. So it's
No, even
King James,
even the
Sillery,
NRSVU,
stupid stuff in there. Okay, that's really good. Thank you for the resource. I'll hop down and let other people hop on here.
One second, guest. My friend Ashlyn, you can't hear her because I haven't fixed that up yet. She says even the NRSVU, what, Ashlyn?
has that parentheses, or is it in the Catholic one where it says?
Yes.
So
there's the
you know what I'm talking about.
The parenthetical statement within the Gospel of Mark says, "Thus he rendered all foods clean." But the problem is the Greek is kind of hard to render because it doesn't say "thus he declared" or "thus he rendered." That is not in the Greek. And it might not be a parenthetical statement. It might be Jesus himself saying that here. If I read it properly without adding the parentheses, it would render as thus: since it enters not the heart but the stomach and goes into the sewers, thus making all foods clean. So the idea is that it's not a parenthetical statement from the author saying thus he declared all foods clean, but that the food going into your stomach renders ceremony unclean foods clean. That's the idea. So it's questionable. It could be a 50-50 sort of thing. It's questionable as to what is intended by the author.
Gotcha. Good to know. My one last question, since you go by Dalton, Darren, Dallas, I don't know how many other ones. Have you seen the Book of Mormon musical?
I haven't, but I know I have to watch it because
you have to. It's great.
As a Dan McClellan fan, he's suggested it. So I 100% have to watch the Book of Mormon play. And plus I like musicals. It's a musical, right?
Oh yeah, it's a great. I don't even like musicals, but I love the Book of Mormon. It's great. There is a character, the love interest of one of the missionaries, has a difficult name to pronounce, and one of the missionaries calls her by a different name starting with the same letter throughout the entire play. And I want, when you go see it, I want you to come. I just want you to feel like some love that they're throwing at you.
Absolutely, I can't wait to 100%. I'll have to check it out now. It's been on my to watch list for a while, and I love musicals. I'm a theater kid at heart, so 100% I'm gonna go check it out.
Do it. Thanks, Dalton. Have a good one.
You too.
I know you can't hear me, but bye. Bye.
We'll get that figured out pretty soon, hopefully. We're gonna bring up our next guest. I'm pretty sure also it's definitely also a friendly. Hello, Doubt It All. Welcome to the live. I think you've been on here. You've been on here before, yeah?
Yeah, I'm 53. I'm a friendly.
Yeah.
I've read Most of it. She, her.
All right.
I just
Welcome to
wanted
the
to
line.
ask.
Well, to the show,
Thank
not to the line. Different show.
I just want to ask 2 quick questions. Do you have a good interliner, I probably said that wrong, Bible to recommend? I'm learning Hebrew. I started to learn with the rabbis, and then I moved away from any rabbis, and I decided I'm going to get back into it. Maybe a good interliner, however you say it, Bible might help me.
When I first started learning Hebrew, and I needed a Bible, I would suggest starting with. There are 2 books. One would be the JPS, the new JPS English Hebrew Bible. That's what I used when I was starting to learn. But a really good resource from Zondervan is a Reader's Hebrew Bible. So a Reader's Hebrew Bible, here, let me grab my copy out of the shelf. One second. This is a Reader's Hebrew Bible. And mine is older. It's got a faux leather, so it's like it's coming apart. They got newer versions of it with actual good leather, but this is what the inside looks like. It's all Hebrew, but the words which are most common, they have them at the bottom. It's important that you learn the alphabet first, learn the vowel points, and if you want a course online to listen to better yourself with Hebrew, I reference it all the time. Are you aware of the Great Courses Plus?
I am. Unfortunately, I am on a very fixed income, and it is very much out of my price range. I do know that Dan McClellan is offering a Hebrew course.
That is also another option. Well, I mean, I can't think of a free resource at the top of my head right now.
Yale and Harvard put up like virtually all their courses. I don't know if there's Hebrew specifically, but you can make an account for both of those. Like you can take virtually all the classes you want. You just don't get a certificate. You have to pay for their certificate. But they have so much online, so many online Yale and Harvard too. Things. Yeah. Both of those, I'm pretty sure they have one because they have. I'm getting made fun of from both chats for saying that. I could probably look it up and send it to you if you don't know what it is. Have you heard of their online courses that are free?
I have because I was taking one through YouTube. It was a course from Yale on biology that I did. So I knew they had. I just didn't think of checking them out. I did find there is also another one on YouTube that's not through any college or university. It's just free biblical Hebrew.
Yep, they have Yale has one on Open Yale courses. Introduction to the Old Testament Hebrew Bible. No, wait, that's not biblical Hebrew. Hold on, that's the wrong one. Sorry. I can check it in DM you. Okay. Let me screenshot and I'll try and find it for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And then my other question was, I'm wanting to read good scholarly papers. But when I go looking online, most of them are from apologists. They're not giving both sides of it could be this or it could be that, you know what I mean? But somebody like Dan McClellan who tells you, even if it goes against what he believes, I'm not finding papers like this. Is there a particular good site to go to find good scholarly papers?
So when it comes to specifically where to go for scholarly papers, if you're looking for papers that are from like a secular non-confessional source, scholarly papers, SBL, usually has a lot of good content on there. The Society of Biblical Literature. Now the way that I find papers is very particular. I use an AI agent to search the internet and find papers and to find me sources, and then I go and I fact check those sources to see whether or not they come from reputable sources and stuff like that. But SBL, the Society of Biblical Literature, which Dan McClellan does post on there, is a pretty good source for biblical articles and research papers.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Happy to help. Have a wonderful day.
You guys have a nice night, and you'll have to kick me because I don't know how to get down.
I gotcha.
Yeah, I actually just looked it up right as they were leaving. I don't see any biblical Hebrew courses on Yale or Harvard or Hale in Yarvard. None of those.
I prefer Hale and Yarvard, but
Hale and Yarvard.
Hale, yeah, Yarvard. Oh yeah, Shadow Slays here. They're still loading in, so let's see if their Wi-Fi is sufficient for this conversation. Let's give them a second to come up. Happy to help out at all. Ooh, I got a twitch. I get muscle spasms a lot. Different parts of my body. Well, Shadow Slay, it looks like your Wi-Fi may not be sufficient for the. It looks like your Wi-Fi may not be sufficient for this call. Kiara After Hours, thank you for the follow. Well, while they're loading in, and well, I guess I'll read the super chat, and they're gone. All right, I figured as much.
Mr. Morpheus again with the $2. Many conversations there with Mr. Morpheus. Should have kept reading Mark 4:10-12. All right.
Let's take a look. Mark chapter 4 verses 10-12. Let's see. When he was alone, those who were around him along with the 12 asked him about the parables. And he said to them, "To you has been given the secret of the kingdom, but for those outside, everything comes in parables, in order that they may indeed look but not perceive, and may indeed hear but not understand, so that they may not turn aside and be forgiven." Yeah, I mean, Jesus seems to be saying here that he speaks in parables simply so that outsiders won't understand what he's saying, and that they might not turn and be healed, which is a weird thing if God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. It seems to be a way for the early Christian community to cope with the fact that not everyone was willing to accept their dogma. And also a weird instance in which this is another instance in which the gospel authors are misquoting from the Old Testament, specifically the book of Isaiah, but that's a question. That's an answer and question for another day. Let's see if Shadow Slays is able to come up now.
Ooh, I'm gonna DM you this. I found something, and maybe if you approve it, you can take a look at it. It's a free Hebrew course, and they have an option for biblical Hebrew.
Ooh. Well, Shadow Slays, it doesn't look like your Wi-Fi is up to snuff for these conversations. I don't know what to tell you, bud. I got bad internet, but let me be back in my. All right. And
Carlos Valdez again with the 100 pesos. Now, my friends, you have real evidence of me, recorded live. Betcha Jeebus or God can't. Love you all, guys.
Hey, listen, I got better evidence for Carlos than I ever got for Jesus. Happy African Atheist says, "You cut your own hair, my bro." I did. Well, I had someone do it for me, but yeah, it's normally I get an actual haircut, but because I don't have a way of getting to the barber, I had to do this. But yeah, Prison Break.
At Sonichum again with the $2 Australian.
Another Australian saying. Oi, yeah, look at that. Oh, that koala.
You are not inferior.
Wait, did I say something about me being inferior? I don't remember. But you know what? Thank you. I will accept that. I am beautiful. I am smart. I am precious. All right, let's try this again. Attempt number 3. Oh, look at that. There we go.
Checking
Shadow.
2. Hello.
Shadow Slays, welcome to the live. I'm going to ask you 4 preliminary questions. Question number 1, are you at least 18 years old?
Yes.
Question number 2, are you a Bible believer?
No, I am not.
All right, I'll skip question 3 and go to question 4. What pronouns do you prefer to go by?
That'd be he, him.
All right. It's weird because in my head, I already knew you weren't a believer. Like, there's something about the way that people talk that it kind of gives, I don't know what it is. It kind of gives it away. But hey, Shadow, he, him, welcome to the Bible Guy show. What brings you up?
Shadow Slaves is in here a lot. That's how you should have known.
Their profile, maybe their profile picture. Maybe it's because did you change your profile picture recently?
A few weeks ago. A while ago, actually. I mean, when everyone was changing it to purple, that's when I changed mine as well.
Well, sorry, I right over my head. Sorry,
it's,
bud.
It's all good.
What brings you up, bud?
No, I mean, first off, I'm actually a big fan, obviously a friendly, and I just have a couple of questions. And, you know, if there's another guest up, just please feel free to drop me at any time. This is going to be referring to the genealogy of Jesus. I'm familiar with the cursed genealogy of Matthew chapter 1, but I didn't quite catch that you were talking about Luke chapter 3 the other day, and I didn't write it down fast enough. Why doesn't that genealogy work?
Oh, yeah, very simply. So in order to understand, we have to go to 2 Samuel chapter 7 to understand why that genealogy doesn't work. And we see here in 2 Samuel chapter 7, verse 12, that God says to King David, when your days are fulfilled and you lie down with your ancestors, I will raise up your offspring after you, who will establish the throne. Who will come forth from your body, and I will establish his kingdom. He shall build a house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. That offspring that God is referring to is Solomon. So it has to be Solomon and his descendants who are like the true heirs of the Davidic dynasty. And because when we go to the Gospel of Luke chapter 3, when we go to the genealogy there, we see that the son of David, that the whole genealogy comes from, is not Solomon, but Nathan. You can't have a son of Nathan be the king of Israel. It has to be David through Solomon.
Okay, so you're saying it's because Nathan is not the rightful heir, which is referred to in 2 Samuel chapter 7.
Yeah. 2 Samuel tells us that it has to be through Solomon.
Okay. Is there cultural context to that where since Solomon is the firstborn, like he has to be the successor?
Solomon actually wasn't the firstborn of all David's sons. So it's not cultural. It's just that Solomon was the one that was chosen by David to be his successor, and it's the one that God showed favor to, and he's the one who ended up sitting on the throne of Yahweh and building the temple for God.
In 2 Samuel. Okay. Good to know. Okay. I wrote that down, and I appreciate that. I really find the inconsistencies of the genealogies fascinating, so thank you for clarifying that.
A whole book could be written on it, probably.
I mean, yeah. really, I could probably chat with you for an hour, just about different things. But is there anyone else in the guest box? I don't want to take up too much of your time.
There is no one else right now. Just you, bud.
Okay. Okay. In Exodus 13, where it talks about the consecration of the firstborn, is that exactly what it means, where it's referring to the sacrifices to God, the infant sacrifices?
Oh yeah. So there are certain sections of the Torah where it refers to people offering up their firstborn in the way that they offer up the animals to God, and the way that you offer up animals to God is, well, through sacrifice. Now there are other parts of the Torah where it specifically says that you are supposed to ransom the firstborn, like you offer up something in the place of the firstborn, and this is like a later like redaction and recontextualization of the what are called mulk sacrifices. So in this time there was a category of sacrifice called the mulk sacrifice. It was performed by the Israelites and also by their neighbors. Over time, this mulk sacrifice was misunderstood to be the name of a deity, which is where you get the name Molech. But in reality, there was never a god named Molech that people offered up their infants to. It was a type of sacrifice, a mulk sacrifice, which was offered up to Yahweh specifically. And Ezekiel tells us that Yahweh commanded this. Now, if you want a book to read on this topic that goes into a lot of detail on this, it is an expensive book. I'll tell you that first and foremost. It's expensive. I think it's like $200.
I'm totally interested. Please go ahead.
The name of the book is called King Manasseh and Child Sacrifice by Francesca Stavrakopoulou.
You said King Manasseh?
Yeah, King Manasseh and Child Sacrifice. Biblical distortions. Biblical distortions is of what? Let me take a look. Here it is on the Amazon. King Manasseh and Child Sacrifice: Biblical Distortions of Historical Realities, by Francesca Stavrakopoulou. Stavrakopoulou is spelled Stavrakopoulou. Yeah, and it's currently at sitting at
LOU.
Yeah, it's currently at a $210. And by the way, for the person who's saying $200 book, what the fuck? This is a scholarly work, and it's basically like a textbook. That's why it's so expensive. This is not a pop book for like the average reader. But also Francesca has Dr. Stavrakopoulou has lots of videos online talking about this subject. Specifically, she talks about it on Myth Vision.
That is going to give me something to do. I appreciate that.
Happy to help.
I have one last little thing. Do you know what the Covenant of Salt is?
That actually is not a topic that I'm super familiar with. Now, I understand the way in which salt works in the ancient Near East, that salt, because the fact that salt is used as a preservative and as a way of cleaning meats, salt is inherently understood to be like a something which is purifying, which is why in a lot of cultures salt is used in rituals of purification. Now, in regards specifically to the covenant of salt, this is actually a topic I haven't looked a lot into, to be specific. I'll admit freely, everyone, when I don't know something. This is one of those things I don't know jack squat about, to be honest.
Yeah, it's only in a couple of verses, mentions it really quickly. I think it might have been kind of like to seal the deal, possibly in certain like treaties, maybe. I'm not too sure, but I am looking into that as well personally. I think that's going to be it for me today. Really great meeting you. Thank you so much for having me today, and your wonderful co-host Ashland. Definitely want to say hello and much appreciated. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day.
And if you want to drop me down, I'd appreciate that.
I got you.
Yeah, thanks for coming up. Loved hearing from you. Great questions.
All right, we're gonna bring up Peter Bot. Peter Bot ate a pail of nuts and bolt peppers. I don't know. Peter Bot, welcome to the live. I'm gonna ask you 4 preliminary questions, and we can move on to the meat and potatoes of the conversation. Question number 1: are you at least 18 years old?
Yes, I'm 25.
Question number 2: are you a Bible believer?
Absolutely.
All right. Question number 3: how much of the Bible have you read?
I've read it front to back.
All right. And then question number 4: what pronouns do you prefer to go by?
He, him.
All right, Peter.
I don't
he,
believe in
him.
that stuff, but whatever.
Yeah, you do. But Peter, he, him. I'm Dalton, the Bible guy. Which one of the 6 points on the board would you like to talk about?
I mean, every single one is wrong, but we can talk about 3.
3. Jesus did not rise from the dead. All right. Why should I believe Jesus rose from the dead?
I think it's very clear. We have eyewitness accounts of the resurrection. We have multiple accounts of the resurrection.
We do?
There are many facts yes, there are many facts. Yes, actually, we do. There are many facts.
What eyewitness accounts of the resurrection do we have? I'm not aware of any.
We have Matthew. He was a tax collector in Jesus's group. We have Mark, which was writing for Peter. We had John, who was also a disciple.
You know, the Gospels are anonymous works. We actually don't know who wrote them.
That's actually not true. Every single manuscript that we have that has a front page has a name on it.
Nope.
Where did you see this?
Here, I can show you a manuscript that has the front page and doesn't have the name on it.
Where you can talk about Matthew P1. Is that the one you're going to bring up? Yeah, the top is missing. The top, the top part is missing.
There's alpha on the front. It's literally numbered with alpha, beta, gamma, like all of them.
Yeah, I know. It's the first page. That's why it's called P1.
Well,
Kappa.
we know. Wait, guess. We know that the top of the manuscript is not missing because of the page number at the top. So I'm going to show it.
No, names go above that.
No, that's not. I would love for you to show me a manuscript where the name goes above the page number like that.
I don't have access to my camera, but you do realize.
Well, just name the manuscript.
I have to look it up.
For everyone who wants to see the manuscript,
look at that. Look at that tiny. Look at that ripped up fragment. These guys are saying this is a full page.
If you look at the top of the manuscript right here.
Look, you can see the rip marks. You can see the rip marks.
Yeah, well, okay, buddy. Hang on. Chill out. It's okay. You're not hurt. Now, the alpha here is a page number. Now, we have no examples of manuscripts where the title occurs at the very top of the page, and then you have the page number. It's always page number first, then you would have title. We have 0 examples of page numbers below titles. Now, what you might be thinking of is the Codex Sinaiticus, when it has like alpha, it has a title, and then in the margin there's an alpha. That's not a page number. That's not a page number though, because if you read that manuscript, it has an alpha and a beta and a gamma and a delta all on the same page. It's because they're not page numbers; they're column. They're like basically paragraph numbers. These aren't page numbers. We have no examples of page numbers being in between a title and the corpus of the text.
Okay, when does Matthew P1 date to?
The 2nd century.
Yeah, what, like late 2nd century, early?
Let me take a look. The exact dating we have for it is around 225 to 275 BCE. CE.
Okay, beautiful.
So 3rd century. Even earlier than that, from church fathers like Papias, we have them mentioning the Gospels by name. He mentions Matthew. He has the Gospel of Matthew.
Well, what does he tell us about the Gospel of Matthew that he references? What does he tell us about it?
He tells us that Matthew wrote the oracle in the Hebrew language.
The Hebrew language, and that it was a sayings gospel. Tell me this: the Gospel of Matthew that we have, is it either written in Hebrew or is it a sayings gospel?
Well, it's church tradition that it was originally written in Hebrew, right? And now we have the Greek copy.
Well, no, the tradition is that Matthew wrote something which was in Hebrew, and that it was a sayings gospel. Whatever that text is, it's not the Gospel of Matthew we have. It's a completely different text altogether. The Gospel of Matthew we have is not a sayings gospel.
Why are so many people tagging me in the comments?
Don't look at the comments. Look, talk to me. So Papias mentions that there's a Gospel of Matthew, which is a Hebrew and is also a sayings gospel. That text is something completely different than whatever is we have. And he says that the Gospel of Mark that he references is something which is...
Hold on. No. I think it says it was a collection of sayings and doings.
No, it's a sayings gospel. Not a sayings and doings. The sayings gospel. Like, for example, an example of a sayings gospel would be like, for example, the Gospel of Thomas. A gospel filled with the sayings of Jesus, like quotations from him, but not just like a narrative that has like teachings of Jesus in it.
Okay. Do you think when Irenaeus is reading this, that he doesn't realize this? He realizes this. Do you think the church fathers are going to accept anonymous gospels as the foundation of their church?
The church fathers, even Eusebius tells us that Papias is unreliable.
Yeah, I think he says he's an idiot, but he doesn't see he's unreliable.
And that he believes in tall tales, like Judas, like the belief that Judas Iscariot like swelled up and was filled with pus and worms and all kinds of stuff, and then he burst out like that. They couldn't even fit through he couldn't even fit into the bathhouse. He was so big. Papias believed in a lot of tall tales. Now Papias gives us a description of two gospels. The one which is Matthew, which doesn't match our Matthew, and the one that's just Mark, which says that it's completely out of order, which doesn't match our Gospel of Mark, because our Gospel of Mark is in the same order as the other synoptic Gospels. Now, and we don't get really any like attribution to the four Gospels that we have until Irenaeus around 170 to 180 CE, but he never tells us where he's getting this information. He just states it matter-of-factly without ever giving us any reason to believe what he's saying is true.
Wait, you said something really interesting though. Where do you think Papias got that idea of Judas? How do you say?
That he bloated
his
so
guts
big
poured
he
out
couldn't
of
even.
him.
Well, that he bloated so big he couldn't even fit through a door. He would walk around and he would smell putrid. We don't know where he gets that story.
Well, what does the Gospel of Luke say
Not
about
that.
Judas's death? It says his guts poured out.
Papias wasn't talking about Judas's death. He's talking about Judas in life, that he was so massive that he literally couldn't even fit through a door, and that he was.
He gives an account of his death.
He didn't talk about his death. He says
Yes,
that
he
couldn't even
did.
fit. He couldn't even fit on a cart. That he was so big he couldn't even fit on a cart. And that he and
Pull it up.
everywhere.
He
and that
mentions
everywhere.
his death.
Yeah, here. Let's go.
He says he died. His guts poured out of him. That's what he said. That's exactly what Luke said. This is evidence he had access to Luke.
The story. Let's see. Get my copy of Eusebius. 1 second.
And they hung him. Papias doesn't mention the hanging. That's Matthew.
Let's see. Book 3 of Histories. Let's see. Book 3, chapter 39. Chapter 39.
You just Google it.
Well, I have a physical copy right here, and also I don't know. I'm gonna go looking for a copy of the Writings of Papias. Is this it right here? Chapter 39. Yep. Let's see. So much for the recognized writings of Clement, Ignatius, and Polycarp. Of Papias, 5 books are extant, entitled "The Sayings of the Lord Interpreted." These are mentioned also by Irenaeus as his only works. Quote, "To these things also Papias, who was an ancient writer, heard John and was a companion of Polycarp, bears written witness."
Interesting. The point there. I was going to bring that up later too. Sorry, go on. apostolic
It's
succession.
it's not really all that interesting. Bears written witness in the fourth of his books, for he composed 5. So Irenaeus, but Papias himself, in his preface, by no means claims that he had been a hearer and an eyewitness of the holy apostles, but says that he had learned the basics of the faith from those who had known them. Along with the interpretations, I shall hesitate to add all that I have learned and carefully remembered from the elders, for I am sure of its truth. Unlike most, I did not delight in those who say much, but in those who teach the truth, not in those who recite the commandments of others, but in those who repeat the commandments given by the Lord. And whenever anyone came who had been a follower of the elders, I asked about their words, what Andrew or Peter had said, or Philip, or Thomas, or James, or John, or Matthew, or any other of the Lord's disciples, and what Aristian and the presbyter John, the disciples of the Lord, were still saying. For I did not think the information from books. Shush! I'm reading. Jesus Christ! It should be noted that twice Papias included the name of John, the first listed with Peter, James, Matthew, and the other apostles, the second in another non-apostolic group, putting Aristion first and clearly calling John a presbyter. This confirms the truth of the story that 2 men in Asia had the same name, and that there are 2 tombs at Ephesus, each called John's, to this day. This is important, for it is likely that the second saw the revelation bearing the name of John, unless anyone prefer the first. Papias thus admits that he learned the words of the apostles from their followers, but says that he personally heard Aristion and John the presbyter. He often quotes them by name and includes their traditions in his writings. Papias also reports certain miraculous incidents and other matters that apparently reached him by tradition. That Philip the apostle lived in Hierapolis with his daughters had already been mentioned, but it must now be told how Papias, who knew him, heard a wonderful story from Philip's daughters. He tells of the resurrection of a corpse in his own lifetime, and of another miracle involving Justus, surnamed Barabbas, who drank poison, but by the Lord's grace suffered no harm. This is the Justus whom the holy apostles nominated, along with Matthias and the Saviors. Are you incapable of shutting up?
I'm waiting for the Judas part, man.
Yeah, you can be patient. Shut the hell up. All right, ascension to replace by casting lots the traitor Judas, according to Acts 1:21. So they proposed to Joseph, called Barsabas, who was known as Justus, and Matthias. Papias supplies other stories that reached him by word of mouth, along with some strange parables and unknown teachings of the Savior, as well as other more legendary accounts. Among them, he says that after the resurrection of the dead, there will be a 1,000-year period when the kingdom of Christ will be established on the earth in material form. I suppose that he got these notions by misunderstanding the apostolic accounts, not realizing that they had used mystic and symbolic language, for he was a man of very limited intelligence, as is clear from his books. Due to him, however, many church writers have, after him, held the same opinion, relying on his earlier date. Irenaeus, for example, had any others who adopted the same views. Papias also quotes other interpretations of the Lord's sayings given by Aristian, mentioning him above of John the presbyter. Where is the part where it mentions Judas Iscariot's bloating? This is the part where he just mentions how he's unreliable and he's of low intelligence. 1 second. Where is the part that mentions?
Okay. While you look for that, I'll tell the chat another argument. Undesigned coincidences.
No, you don't get to talk to the chat. All right.
This isn't your live, Peter. I just want to let you know that. I know you're up here talking when we're trying to read text, and we're trying to have a conversation, but you insist on being rude.
He's not reading right now, though.
Yeah, you don't get to.
But it's not your live. We will have a linear, progressive conversation. We're going to go 1 point at a time.
0.97 points. 39.
Well, if you want, we can just move on from this point. It's not that interesting anyway.
Well, yeah, I mean, you hold all your you put all your cards on Papias, but Papias isn't a reliable individual to get your information on.
He knew the elders, they knew the disciples.
Yeah, but he's also of low intelligence, and he also misinterprets things that he hears apparently. Also, I don't care if he heard things from the originals. The originals, like, I don't think that the originals understood what they saw, and I don't think that they. And also, again, maybe he heard things from the apostles, but did the apostles write the gospels? No, we have no reason to think that. Especially when we have anonymous copies.
Anonymity was common back then for eyewitness accounts.
Oh, is that so?
Mm-hmm. Tacitus NLs, I'm pretty sure, didn't have his name on it.
Then how do we know who? And we know that Tacitus wrote his works because we have actual documents from other people who are named, who knew Tacitus. But again, Irenaeus didn't know the apostles. He's just getting his information from an unknown source.
He knew Polycarp that knew John.
Polycarp was a hearer of John in his youth.
There you go.
He heard John speak.
Point for Jesus.
He heard John speak in his youth. That doesn't mean he was a disciple of John.
And Dalton, I think you're looking for fragment 3. Judas walked about in this world, a great example of impiety, for his body having swollen to such extent that he could not pass where a chariot could pass easily.
Oh yes, that is the passage. Where is that at?
Papias fragment 3, sometimes numbered fragment 4, depending on the edition.
Yes.
Fragment 3. Fragments of Papias 3.
Is it pronounced Papias? I always say Papias.
It's Papias. Judas walked about in this. Yeah. Judas walked about in this world, a sad example of impiety, for his body having swollen to such an extent that he could not pass where a chariot could pass easily. He was crushed by the chariot so that his bowels gushed out. Is that the gospel story? Is Papias accurately recounting what he heard?
I'm actually so sorry. Can you re-say it?
Judas walked about in this world, a sad example of impiety, for his body having swollen to such an extent that he could not pass where a chariot could pass easily. He was crushed by the chariot so that his bowels gushed out.
Oh, beautiful. Okay, so now we're
Judas
agreeing.
crushed by a chariot?
Yes. The Gospel of Luke tells us that he fell over and his guts poured out. This perfectly aligns.
That he was crushed by a chariot, specifically, is what I said.
Well, Papias is filling in the missing information from Luke. It fits together with it like a.
It doesn't.
Like a puzzle. It fits together with it like a puzzle.
It doesn't. Also, the bloating of Judas Iscariot takes place before he gets crushed by the chariot.
Yes, because if you read Matthew's account,
he was gluttonous. He was gluttonous.
No. Let me tell you what's going on here. Papias very clearly has Matthew and Luke. He's reading both these accounts, and he thinks,
no,
when you're hanging yourself,
not very clearly. We don't know that Papias had access to these works. This is just a presupposition that you're bringing into the conversation. When Papias mentions the Gospel of Matthew and Mark, it's not the same Matthew and Mark that we have access to. It's something completely different.
So you want to sit there on the other side of the screen and tell me the entirety of the church father history never thought about this, that, maybe Papias had a different gospel. No, they thought about it and they researched it probably.
Oh yeah, I'm sure I don't trust the church fathers to give me accurate retellings of the Bible. The church fathers aren't no better at reading the Bible than the apostles were.
Do you actually think they would accept anonymous texts?
Yes.
Why would they do that? They strived.
Because it would reinforce their theological beliefs. And then
where did
they get the texts? They were circulating.
Where'd they get those theological beliefs from?
They get the theological beliefs from the apostles, but the texts and the authors of the Gospels also got their ideas from Christians around, but the Christians got them from the apostles. But the apostles aren't the writers of the Gospels. Now, I don't think for a second that the apostles really saw the resurrected Jesus. There's a far better explanation for what Paul describes to us, that Jesus, quote, appeared first to Peter, no mention of Mary Magdalene, and that he appeared to the 12. The same Greek word used to describe the way that Jesus, quote, appeared to him. Did Jesus appear to Paul like corporeally or like in a vision?
Well, Paul says Jesus appeared to him, right?
In what manner?
Well, if we read Acts, we see there was a light, so it was an exterior experience or external experience.
Well, we don't really consider Acts all that reliable either, mostly because Acts contradicts Paul's own testimony as to how he came to believe. But like here, did the people hear the voice?
What about Matthew, who gets it completely wrong too?
What did Matthew get wrong? Matthew doesn't. Wait, what does he get wrong?
Matthew says he hung himself, didn't he?
Oh, you're talking about the Venus thing. Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Not crushed by a chariot. He hung himself.
No, that actually fits together perfectly like a puzzle with.
Oh yeah,
with
here, watch.
Luke's account.
He hung himself and got hit by a chariot.
Yeah, guys, that fits together. If I put my hand here and then squint my eye and turn my head, yeah, that fits perfectly. Yeah.
I can reconcile it.
That's some harmony. Oh, do you think that? Okay, let me just check. Do you think that the Bible is like the Gospels are like can be perfectly harmonized and there's no contradictions within them?
Yeah.
All right, I got one for you that no one's been able to give me an answer for. At least not a good
Okay.
one.
If you want me to reconcile the Judas one, I will. But go ahead.
When was Jesus born during the reign of King Herod the Great?
Oh, this one's so easy.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I can actually reconcile this. Are you ready for the answer? Well, let me just make sure I'm thinking of the right one.
My first question is: was Jesus born during the reign of King Herod the Great?
Yes, that's what the gospel says. Yes.
Was he born during the census of Quirinius?
That is correct. Yes.
When did King Herod the Great rule Israel?
I think 4 BC.
Yeah, that's when he died. When was the census of Quirinius?
Well, this is where it gets interesting. Now you see, the answer to this is actually, and here I'll give you proof of this. Okay, before you say it's silly, I actually have proof of this. Quirinius was governor twice. Okay,
it's Quirinius.
Quirinius, yeah. And also, does the text you're referencing mention Quirinius's name?
Yes.
No. The stone.
Wait, it does.
Mentions,
Luke does.
No. Well, no, not Luke. Luke never says that he served twice.
Oh, you're talking about my proof. Yes, we found a tablet. Tablet.
It doesn't have a name on it. It just mentions an individual who served as governor twice, but it doesn't say who.
No, it says his name.
It does not.
Pull it up on the big screen.
Yeah, here. Let's see. Do you know the name of the stone?
No, I'll find it.
Here. Govern twice. You apologists. No, it's not the Meshe Stele, you dumbass. The lapis oh yeah, here it is. The lapis tibertinus. All right, let's pull it up. Lapis tibertinus inscription. Okay, let's take a look. Browser open for everyone to see. All right. Let's see. Where can I go to actually read the inscription?
Livoli inscription. Type. Yeah, you found it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking for the actual inscriptions for us to read.
Go to try images. Oh, never mind. It's in Greek.
Well,
or whatever that is.
Let's take a look. Do we see the name Quirinius in here? We have here.
Well, I don't know how you. It's right there at the top. No, I'm joking. I don't know. I can't read that.
Augusti.
That's not Greek.
That's Latin.
Whatever that is.
Yeah, that's Latin. I was gonna say, wait, there's no
Proconsulicium Provincium. No, the text doesn't mention Quirinius by name. It just mentions someone who ruled twice as proconsul. But it doesn't.
Well, that could have been Quirinius.
Could have been, doesn't mean anything to me unless you can demonstrate that it actually was Quirinius. Unless the text actually says Quirinius, then we ain't going to believe that nonsense. We have no data to support that Quirinius ruled twice. All we have is that Quirinius became the governor of Syria specifically because of the deposition of Herod Archelaus and because of the fact that the region of Judea had been annexed to Rome.
Right, but here's the thing. If you're trying to say it's a contradiction, there has to be no possible way out, and this is a possible way out.
No,
So it's
that's
not a contradiction.
I know that's how apologetics work. That instead of actually dealing with like what do the data say, we just go off of what the narrowest possibility of the truth of what could be. But we're not interested in that here. We're interested in what do the data actually support, and the data do not support the idea that Quirinius served as governor twice. All we have is an anonymous a text that doesn't mention a person by name, and the only time we ever have reference to Quirinius in actual data is from the writings of Flavius Josephus, and Flavius tells us explicitly that the only reason Quirinius is serving as governor of Syria is because of the deposition of Herod Archelaus. If your whole apologetic stand is going to be well, it's a possibility that it could be this, and therefore I'm going to believe it. Well, that's not how we operate here on this channel. We go by what do the data say.
Well, the tablet says he conducted a military campaign, and that's what Quirinius did.
Lots of
So it
people have
could be
conducted
him.
military campaigns. I don't care about whether or not it could be him. I care about what does the tablet actually say.
Yes, also it is Quirinius, by the way.
Yeah.
Exactly, it is Quirinius. Exactly.
Well, no. Oh, no, she's correcting your pronunciation. Not that the text says it's Quirinius. It doesn't say Quirinius.
Oh, I thought you were becoming Christian. Okay.
No,
she's a
I'm
very
a
proud
woman. I'm not a
Yeah.
self-hating woman. I actually think that I'm of equal value to a man.
Why?
Yeah,
I'm just joking. Okay. Here's-
Sexism is so fucking funny, guys. Did you laugh?
Here's the thing. That is what I believe. I believe he was governor twice. So in my view, there's no contradiction.
Well, I
Do you have-
don't care what you believe. Do you have any data to support what you believe?
just the tablet and the fact that
No, the tablet doesn't support your position because it doesn't say Quirinius' name.
and the fact that everything else in the Bible is true. So through inductive reasoning, that likely is very true.
You don't get to presuppose the Bible is true for your argument. The Bible is the thing in question. Can you
Oh, I'm
actually
not presupposing it.
Can you demonstrate to us that Quirinius actually did serve twice? Just admit you can't, or show us the data.
Okay, let me ask you a question first. If I said 1 billion things and they were all true, the billion and first thing that I said, you'd probably think is true. You think I'm a truthful person.
All right.
The Bible has a trillion true things.
Who was Belshazzar's father?
I don't know.
Was it Nebuchadnezzar? Look at Daniel makes it claim that's Nebuchadnezzar.
Oh, you're talking about the. Oh, you're talking about. What are you talking about? Which verse? Is this the genealogy?
No, this is Daniel chapter 5. It tells us King Belshazzar made a great feast for 1,000 of his lords, and as he was drinking wine in the presence of the thousands. Under the influence of the wine, Belshazzar commanded that they bring in the vessels of gold and silver that his father, Nebuchadnezzar, had taken out of the temple in Jerusalem, so that the king and his lords, his wives and his concubines might drink from them. Was King Belshazzar the son of Nebuchadnezzar?
Yeah.
not only was he not the son of Nebuchadnezzar, he wasn't even related to Nebuchadnezzar. Belshazzar was in fact, so the lineage of kings in ancient Babylon, according to the list of kings A and B, the Babylonian Chronicles, and the Nabonidus calendar, would be that Nebuchadnezzar's son Amil-Marduk, whom the Bible calls Evil Marduk, was the successor of King Nebuchadnezzar. And then, instead of his son becoming the next king of Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar's son-in-law Nerigalesar became the next king of Babylon, and then Nerigalesar's son Labashi-Marduk became king of Babylon, and then he was overthrown in a coup by the last king of Babylon, Nabonidus.
Okay,
And
wait, hold on.
And Nabonidus made his son Belshazzar the vice regent of Babylon while he was gone. So no, Belshazzar was not the son of Nebuchadnezzar, not even his descendant.
So you're saying his actual son was Neo-Galeshar?
No, his son-in-law was Nerigalesar. Nebuchadnezzar's son-in-law was
Okay.
Nerigalesar. His son was Amil-Marduk.
Amil-Marduk. Okay, so you're saying the contradiction is that his son is actually Amil-Marduk and not Belshazzar.
Yeah, and Belshazzar's father was Nabonidus, not Nebuchadnezzar. Wasn't even related to
Okay,
Nebuchadnezzar.
I can actually. This doesn't seem like a contradiction at all. Back in those times, many people had multiple names, right?
Here, guys.
Oh boy.
What do we think about the
Mark?
alternate name hypothesis? Yeah, no, we know
Saul turned to Paul. Who else?
We're not talking about an example of people having alternate names. Abel-Marduk was never called Belshazzar. We know who Belshazzar was. We know historically who
Probably a
Belshazzar
common
was.
name back then.
He was the vice regent of Babylon. So Nebuchadnezzar wasn't the father of Belshazzar, and Belshazzar was the vice regent of Babylon when the Persians came in.
How do you know all that?
Because of the list of kings A and B in the Babylonian Chronicles and the Nabonidus.
Well, maybe that's
calendar.
wrong.
The Babylonians were wrong about who was king in Babylon, but the Jewish people writing hundreds of years after the fact knew who was king of Babylon.
Hundreds of years after. These were written in like 400 or 500 BC.
No, Daniel was written in the 2nd century BCE. No,
Yeah, that's what the secular scholars want you to believe, but it wasn't.
The secular scholars believe that. Here, if I had a book that was claiming to be a prophecy written by, let's say, Dwight L. Moody, but the text contains like language from like the 1990s, it gets the politics of the late 1800s wrong, and it only gets prophecies right up until a certain point in the text, and after that, all the prophecies go wrong. What conclusion would you come to about that text?
That's not analogous.
It is analogous. Answer the question. What would you think about that text?
That's not analogous.
Answer the question. Don't be a coward. Answer the question. What would you think about this text purported to be written by Dwight L. Moody?
I would think it was written later on, after.
All right. Does the Book of Daniel get the politics of ancient Babylon correct, according to all the data?
Well, you're going to say no, obviously.
Well, that's what the evidence shows. Does the Book of Daniel ever contain like words from like, let's say, later Greek words, which you wouldn't expect to find in a text written in Babel? It does.
I don't think it does. That's a myth.
Oh, the Book of Daniel doesn't contain Greek loanwords?
Listen, Dalton, Wi-Fi was clearly used in the 1800s. That word
It could
was from then.
When's the manuscript that you're reading from?
The original Hebrew/Aramaic of the text. Let's see. Let's take a look at the.
Well, the original manuscript could have had.
Oh God!
They could have updated it.
They could have updated it.
With,
Do you have any
with
evidence?
newer language. With newer language.
Evidence? Or are we just going to play the could have been game again, like with Quirinius? Are we playing the could have been game? Is this what your whole entire
It's not a
belief in
game.
Jesus is based off of? Yeah, it is.
I think unless
you can provide us some evidence that the text of Daniel didn't originally have these Greek loanwords in them, then I'm not going to believe it, bud. I'm going to go based off of the textual data.
No, you only say it's a forgery because of the prophecies are so accurate.
Well, no, they're not accurate. Actually, they get.
How do you know the
inaccurate.
anointed? How do you know the Messiah would be cut off?
They get.
How did he predict the destruction of the temple in Daniel
Messiah?
9?
Messiah?
The anointed one will be cut off.
No,
the Messiah will be cut off before the end.
Wait. The anointed one? Definite article?
That's what it says.
Oh, buddy. Okay.
It says before the destruction of the temple, the permanent destruction. How do you know it's going to be permanently destroyed?
Shush, child. Let's see if Daniel chapter 9 contains the definite article when referring to an anointed one who will be cut off. Let's take a look at that. Let's see. Okay. Look at the tool. Look at the air. Let's take a look at the text.
Dalton, he's probably going to call that Greek, so just be careful.
Okay.
That's Hebrew.
Here, bud. Where is the definite article in this word here, highlighted in the text? This is the word Mashiach, which means anointed one. Where's the definite article?
I don't even know. I can't read that.
Well, it doesn't have the. So here, I'll show you what it would look like if you had a definite article in the text. So, Hebrew lesson, everyone. The word for Messiah in Hebrew. Let me get this Greek. This up here a little bit. Boom. The Hebrew word for Messiah is Mashiach, spelt Mem, Shin, Yud, Chet. If you want to say the Messiah, you have to include the definite article, the word, which in English would be the word the. In Hebrew, it's the letter He. So the letter He would be HaMashiach, the anointed one. When we take a look at the Hebrew of Daniel chapter 9, and we take a look at the word for anointed one, does it contain the definite article or is it indefinite?
It's indefinite.
So it's not the Messiah or the anointed one. What it says is Yiklet Mashiach ve'ain lo, and will be cut off an anointed one and will have nothing.
Say that again.
Yiklet Mashiach ve'ain lo, and will be cut off an anointed one and will have nothing.
Okay.
Question: is the high priest in the temple a Mashiach?
Yes.
Was King Onias III during the Maccabean revolt a high priest? Not King Onias. Onias III, was he a high priest?
I think so. I don't know.
He was. He was murdered. He was cut off and he had nothing.
Okay. You're not looking at the entire verse, the verses around it. It literally gives you a timeline. It tells you when.
And after the 60 week and years, we cut off an anointed one who will have nothing. What am I missing here? Here, actually, let's go back to the beginning of this.
It says in how many years it will happen, and then it talks about the destruction of the temple, indicating that high priest was not the anointed one. He was not the one they were talking about.
We'll get to that in a second. Wrong keyboard. No wonder. Daniel chapter 9. Chapter 9. Let's see. After Daniel's prayer, while I was speaking and was praying and confessing my sin and the sin of my people Israel and presenting my supplication before Yahweh my God on behalf of the holy mountain of my God, while I was speaking in prayer, the man Gabriel, whom I had seen before in a vision, came to me in swift flight at the time of the evening sacrifice. He came and said to me, Daniel, I have now come out to give you wisdom and understanding. At the beginning of your supplications, a word went out, and I have come to declare it, for you are greatly beloved. So consider the word and understand the vision. 70 weeks are decreed for your people. That's 490 years for everyone who doesn't know. And for your holy city to finish the transgression, to put an end to sin, and to atone for iniquity, to bring in everlasting righteousness, to seal both vision and prophet, and to anoint a most holy place. Know therefore, this is the important verse, Know therefore and understand that from the time of the word went out to restore and rebuild Jerusalem until the time of an anointed prince shall be 7 weeks. When did the word go out? What is this a reference to?
When did the what go out?
The word go out. The word to restore and rebuild Jerusalem. When did that go out?
Oh, I don't know. Like 200 BC? I don't know.
Here, let me help you out here. The book of Ezra actually tells us in the very opening of Ezra chapter 1. In the first year of King Cyrus of Persia, to fulfill the word of Yahweh from the mouth of Jeremiah, Yahweh stirred up the spirit of King Cyrus of Persia, so that he made a proclamation throughout all of his kingdom, and also in the writing, saying, Thus saith King Cyrus of Persia, Yahweh of God of heaven has given me all the kingdoms of the earth, and has charged me to build him a house in Jerusalem. So it's when it's the word is proclaimed by King Cyrus, correct?
Yeah, that's also what King Daniel predicted, I believe. But yes,
What?
there's a prophecy about King Cyrus becoming king. But yes, go on anyway.
That's not a prophecy. We'll get to that next. Anyways, when did King Cyrus release the Jewish people from their exile and allow them to return? Because that'll tell us when the word to restore and rebuild Jerusalem took place.
That was like 400 BC.
Let's take a look. Let's see. When did caps lock. When
Do you have a degree in this stuff?
Nope. When did King Cyrus free the Jews? All right, 538 to 539 BCE. This is when the end of the Babylonian exile took place. So, if we take 538, well, to be generous, I'll give you 539. 539, and you add to that 490 years later, what year does that get us to?
I can't read that.
Oh, it says 49. Gets us to the year 49 BCE. Is that when Jesus was crucified?
It's pretty close, but no.
It's not close. It's several decades off. So the prophet was wrong.
And Daniel is like one of Duncan's favorite.
Duncan's favorite books. Yep. And then one last thing to end this to end the live on.
Who's
You made a claim that Cyrus is prophesied as being king, right? That was your claim?
Yep.
All right. This is going to be the last thing.
I don't know about that Daniel 9 one. I'll look into that more, but
yeah. Isaiah chapter 45. All right. Now, before we get into this, quick check. Grammar question. What is the difference between the two sentences I'm about to present to you? I went to the store versus I will go to the store.
One's past tense, one's future tense.
All right, let's read the passage about King Cyrus.
I know what you're gonna say. You're one of those people who split Isaiah into 3 different times, right?
Well, the question is, does the data support that? Thus saith Yahweh to his anointed, to Cyrus, whose right hand. What does that say?
I have grasped. Past tense.
As in, when this text is written, the grasping of Cyrus's hand has already occurred. This is not predicting that one. It doesn't say, I will grasp the hand of Cyrus using future tense language.
No.
Yeah.
Listen, this is how prophecies work in the Bible. When you read Psalms and it says they come, they part.
The prophet perfect.
Psalm says they.
Psalms aren't prophecies.
Part my garments. They part my garments and cast lots upon them. It reads as if it happened.
Psalms aren't prophecies. Psalms aren't prophecies.
Matthew's quoting Psalms because
Matthew's wrong. Matthew's wrong. Matthew butchers the Hebrew. Hebrew Bible all the time. Prophetic perfect tense isn't a real Hebrew grammar. It is a coping mechanism created by Christians in order to deal with the fact that, well, the Bible doesn't actually like speak about about many of these things in the future tense as if they are actually prophecies. We have actual examples of prophecies in the Hebrew Bible where they say in the future tense, such and such a thing shall occur. For example, Isaiah chapter 2 describes how how they shall beat their swords into plowshares, for example. When the text,
wait, hold on. You're saying, okay, wouldn't Matthew know this though? Wouldn't Matthew know that
not
Psalms
if
is not
Matthew,
prophesying?
yeah, not if the author of Matthew doesn't actually speak Hebrew and isn't actually all that familiar with the Hebrew Bible.
Why? What? You don't think he spoke Hebrew?
No, or at least I have no reason to think he did. He's definitely quoting from the Septuagint, not
See, I would
the
go
Hebrew
back to
Bible.
Papias, but we already talked about that.
Yeah, well, the author of the book of Matthew obviously is quoting from the Septuagint and not the Hebrew text. We have the Dead Sea Scrolls, which precede the writings of the Gospel of Matthew. The Gospel of Matthew author quotes, for example, Isaiah 7:14 and says, "Therefore a virgin shall conceive." When even the oldest Hebrew manuscripts from the Dead Sea Scrolls, which precede the New Testament, say, "Hinecha alma chara v'yoledet ben v'kilat shemo Emmanuel." Behold, the young woman is pregnant and will have a son. The author
What,
of Matthew
Alma?
doesn't know what he's talking. Yeah.
Alma can mean virgin as well.
Nope. There's a word for virgin in Hebrew. Betula. If the author of
Betula can mean young woman.
And also, it doesn't just say.
Hey, hold on.
No, it doesn't.
Hold on.
No, it doesn't.
Peter, you can speak Hebrew?
A little bit. I know those two words.
I know those two words. Okay. When it describes the Alma in Isaiah 7:14, does it say Ha'alma tahare, the young woman shall become pregnant? Or does it say Ha'alma hara, the young woman is pregnant?
None. It says the virgin is pregnant.
The virgin is pregnant, so there was a virgin in the time of Isaiah.
That was a trick question.
There was a virgin. There was a virgin in the time of Isaiah that was pregnant.
Will be. Sorry, the virgin will be.
No. It doesn't say tahare. The Hebrew text says ha'alma hara. The young woman is pregnant.
This is how I'm telling you, this is how prophecy works.
No, it's not how prophecy.
In the Bible.
This is how coping works. But it seems like let's just give a summary of how this conversation has gone so far. So far, a lot of your arguments has been arguments of authority, church fathers, arguments of, well, it could have been, and also, well, that's just how prophecy works, even though no Hebrew grammarian is going to agree with you on that. But listen, Peter Bott, you've been a lot of fun. You didn't sway me even 1 centimeter closer towards believing in God. In fact, if anything, you've only confirmed my non-belief. But you know what? You have a wonderful day, and you're more than welcome to call back on another night.
Cool. Thank you.
Oof.
Liar, liar, lake of fire.
It never baffles me. It baffles me to no end, actually. And by the way, that was the last
you cooked them. Like, that bacon is burnt. That toast is on fire. Call the fire department. They are concussed. All the things.
Yeah, it will never not baffle me when non-Hebrew speakers try to correct me on Hebrew. Never. But I'm going to read.
Yeah, like I know 2 words. Those 2 words. Okay. Yeah, and I know Spanish because I can say tequila. And order a margarita.
All right, everyone, get your super chats in right now if you want to send them, because we're about to end the live. The Invoke Show says Mashiach, his Messiah. Yeah, his anointed one. Yep, Isaiah 45 refers to Cyrus as God's anointed one, his Messiah. All right, I'm gonna read some super chats now.
At Misanthropology with the $2. Is it possible Jesus was just an idiot?
I don't think it was that Jesus was an idiot. I think it's more of the line that the apostles were idiots. Oh, hey, Quant, you can come up, Quant. You can just hang out with us for a second while we're reading super chats. Here.
Quantonaut.
Here now.
Quantonaut. That sounds like it's gotta be a 1970s really action hero. Quantonaut.
I like it.
Quantonaut. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if necessarily the historical Jesus was an idiot. Now, the Jesus of the Gospels is definitely an idiot. He refers to Psalm 82 as being part of the law of Moses. Sounds like an idiot move to me. Quantonaut, how have you been?
Busy. I'm writing a new paper and looking to hopefully upload it to archive by the end of next week.
By the way, because you do lives, I needed to show you a feature. I don't know if you've already seen it on my lives, but you need this feature because you're a science guy.
Oh.
So I'm able to pull up a chalkboard, and I'm able to write with it. So if you want to know how to do that, let me know, and I'll. It's super easy. You have an iPad?
I have a tablet, like a Surface, but
it might work. There's an app called Lonely Screen that makes it to where on your computer you can like screen share your tablet onto your computer screen, and from there if you're using OBS.
I do know how to do that for my Surface. There's a Windows application for that.
And then I just got an app called Procreate, which is kind of like Photoshop, but it's just for art. Anyways, and now we can write stuff for the audience. But
hey,
there we go. Guys, I'm one of those. I've got pretty handwriting. If I wanted to show you guys how I actually write, where's one of my gloves?
I've met some professors with some horrible handwriting.
Oh yeah, I'm not me. I'm not cut out to be a doctor. I have good handwriting. Ashlyn has worked with some doctors in her time, and I'm pretty sure she's seen some atrocious handwriting.
You know, probably the only similarity between my notes and your notes is the presence of a lot of Greek letters.
Accurate.
And I have seen some poor handwriting. I used to do charts, and you can't read it. Oh, we did them all in paper because the place that I worked was corrupt, and yeah.
This is my handwriting. I when I was in middle school, I wanted to write like the Declaration of Independence, so I learned how to write the way they wrote. But you know.
Question: chalk?
Yeah.
Or whiteboard?
Well, whiteboards are as like they feel they're tactile. They feel better. Tactile wise,
tactile.
Yeah,
tactile with an A.
Tactile wise, they feel
tactile. Tack, like a thumbtack.
Everybody's typing that in the...
Tactilely, they feel better. But as far as visuals are concerned, this just looks like a classroom when you have chalkboard. But I prefer whiteboards in person in real life because they just feel better.
Yeah, I can't, like, the nails on the chalkboard feel. I get that whenever I just write with chalk in general.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, it's tactile. Hail, Yarvard, Papias, or what did I say? Papias earlier, accidentally.
We have a lot of Christians who say Papias and it's papayas. You said papayas, and papayas.
Oh, papayas.
Sounds like something. It's a papaya. You eat papayases.
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking when I read that. I was just like, I know how to say it. I just said it wrong by accident. And then they're like quick to correct me. So when they said Quirinius's name wrong, I was like, oh,
Papyrus.
oh.
Isn't he that guy from Undertale?
Oh God. Here's the rule. Here's the rule. You eat Papyrus, you disregard Papias. That's the rule.
Also, I vote for a whiteboard, because who doesn't like to sniff the markers?
Me, because I'm not a middle schooler.
I know. I know Blitz prefers chalk, but I can't.
Blitz likes chalk because it's like, if you want to be a really cool physicist, you use a chalkboard because it looks super. Oh my gosh! The first thing I pulled up on my phone was Blitz. Yeah, it makes you look like a true theorist. We'll get another scientist's perspective on this matter. What do you think, bud?
Oh, was this on the topic of the marker and chalkboard?
Yeah.
Yeah. I prefer, just for chemistry, a marker is always better. Just because when you design, it just feels a little bit smoother. I've used the chalkboard before, and maybe it's just because I only did it once. I didn't really enjoy it. I was like, man, I'm messing up, and it's kind of more annoying to go back and clean off the chalk with a eraser than having to be able to smudge it off. And you can kind of work with the marker a little bit better, for just displaying mechanisms.
I'm having the hardest time ever trying to.
Also, you like to sniff the expo, right? That's also a reason.
Well, I mean, you can also use like alcohol, right, to wipe away the marker. So I guess it's fun messing with alcohol. But I did have some questions regarding
Good old ethanol.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, question for you regarding the second point. I remember, if you remember, I DM'd you about it. I would like to learn a little bit about the messianic prophecies and what was.
Yeah, I forgot. I saw your message and I was supposed to read it, and then I ended up not because I was ignoring you. One second. Here, wait a minute. Now that you're here, I can read your message out loud and then in front of the class, and then let's see. Oh yeah, I did answer actually. So I guess I did answer. Also, I was asking about some Christian. They also believe the Romain criteria met with. Okay. So what question do you have about the messianic prophecy?
Yeah, yes. I mean, first and foremost, like, a lot of times people try to say I heard two claims. One, that all the prophecies have been met in just a very particular point of view, right? And if they haven't been met yet, they'll be met in the future, which is kind of funny to me. That means that Jesus isn't the Messiah yet, right? But then another thing I've heard before is that Jesus has not met any of the messianic prophecies. So first and foremost, which one do you think there is? Did he meet some? Did he meet none? Or
None.
What's your take?
He met none. He met none of the prophecies, and the Christians will try to say he fulfilled X, Y, and Z prophecy. But when you go and you evaluate the contextual, literary, and historical context of these prophecies from the Old Testament, they are either not even about the Messiah in its original context, or they've been mistranslated in order to make them look as if they're about Jesus.
So I guess a good question here would be, what really is a Messiah? Isn't maybe Christ and Messiah aren't the terms that a lot of people think they are, right? Like, I think they have pointed it only to Jesus, but isn't there like more broader sense of what a Messiah is?
So in the Old Testament, you would have individual figures who were chosen to be the kings of Israel, or to be a priest in the temple, or to be a prophet. And in order to be inaugurated into these like positions of power, you have to undergo a ceremony where you take a ram's horn filled with olive oil and you pour it on the person's head, thus anointing them. And the act of anointing in Hebrew is called meshech, and the one who is anointed, the anointed one, is called a Mashiach. So King David was a Mashiach. Every high priest of Israel was a Mashiach. The prophets are Mashiach. Then the prophet spoke of one day there would come forth a future king of Israel, and eventually people started to call this individual, instead of calling him the future king of Israel, they would say HaMashiach, the anointed one, for short term. And the word Mashiach gets transliterated into Greek. So for everyone who doesn't know, the difference between translation and transliteration is, for example, let's say you have a Hebrew word like pick a word like Hebrew, like the let me get my chalkboard out. Boop. Like, for example, let's say you have the Hebrew word Av, which means father. The way you translate that is by having it be in your language, father. The way you transliterate a word is by doing your best to bring back into your language the sounds of the original language. So in this case, aleph, vav, av, transliterated is av. So when you have a word like Mashiach and you want to bring that into, we have mem, shin, yud, chet. If you want to transliterate that into Greek, bring it over into the Greek language while trying to retain as much as the original sound as you possibly can, it becomes the Greek word. Let's see. Messias. That's how you would write it in Greek. Mu, epsilon, sigma, sigma, iota, alpha, sigma, Messias. Now, if you want to translate it into Greek, so different sound, different letters, you would choose the Greek word Christos. Christos means the same thing as Mashiach. So Messias and Christos, one's a transliteration, one's a translation of the original Hebrew word Mashiach, which means anointed one. Messias would end up becoming our English word Messiah, and Christos would become our English word Christ. So Messiah, Christ, they are synonymous with one another. They simply mean an anointed one. In this case, it's an individual who was anointed to be the king of Israel. And that is the claim that the New Testament is making about Jesus, that he is the future prophesied king of Israel. So that's what the term Messiah
That's so fascinating.
means.
And thank you for explaining that. I never knew that there was a difference between translation and transliteration. I mean, I should have known because, why are we using two different words? So that's awesome. And second, you brought up King David. I've heard that Jesus, one of his prophecies, or as you've alluded to there, was that he would be a descendant of King David. I believe that's correct, right? That was one of the prophecies. And of course, like you're telling me he didn't reach that. Could you elaborate a little bit on how he wasn't or alienated from that?
Or at least we don't have anything that would positively demonstrate that Jesus was a descendant of David. Now, we have two genealogies given to us in the Gospels of Matthew and Mark. One of them claims that Jesus, but here's the problem with those genealogies. The genealogies go to David, but they end up going all the way to Joseph. And the problem is Joseph isn't Jesus' dad. Jesus is allegedly born of a virgin. So the genealogies can't demonstrate that Jesus was the Messiah.
I see. Interesting.
Yeah,
that's very fascinating, honestly.
So all we have are claims that Jesus is a son of David, and maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. We have no way of actually knowing, but that wouldn't make him unique, as there are lots of people, lots of Jewish individuals today who are at least claimed to be descendants from King David. I know a man named Nehemiah Gordon. His family tradition says that their lineage goes back to King David. The Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson was a descendant of King David. Obviously, Joseph, if either one of the genealogies is correct, is a descendant of David, but that doesn't make him the Messiah. So we don't have any evidence that he was a descendant of David. But even if he was, it wouldn't really be enough to make anyone the Messiah.
Wow, thank you so much. Like that's actually very fascinating. I was trying to alliterate that point or elucidate, sorry, some things that I kind of knew, but thank you for a little bit of information on that. And is there any way just to explain to these people sometimes that, like, because the prophecies weren't meant till aside from all the prophecies we just talked about or what we just spoke about, the fact that Jesus hasn't even met all of them, wouldn't that just be an instant indicator that after Judgment Day or Armageddon or whatever they believe is the day he comes back, he'll fulfill all the rest of the prophecies? Doesn't that indicate at here and now he isn't the Messiah? And just because you have the propensity to be one doesn't mean that you are one.
I would tell
or
them,
you are one at the moment.
What I often do is I point to another individual who is a messianic claimant. Hey, Breadstick Atheist, good to see you. Haven't seen you in a long time, buddy. Mwah. But anyways, there was an individual in the 1990s and throughout the 20th century. His name was Menachem Mendel Schneerson. He was the head rabbi of Chabad Lubavitch, a specific sect of Orthodox Jews. And many people thought he was the Messiah. Many people within Judaism thought he may have been the Messiah. And when he died, a lot of people stopped believing he was the Messiah. But to this day, there are still members of Chabad who believe that the Rebbe, as they call him affectionately, was and is the Messiah, and that he may have not fulfilled all prophecies, but he will return. And when he does, he will be the Messiah. So ask them, how does that make Jesus more or less of the Messiah than Menachem Mendel Schneerson?
Okay, awesome. I'll try to. Is there a shorthand for that name? I want to just look it up so it's in my search history. How do you spell that?
The Rebbe. Call him the Rebbe. Rebbe.
Okay, I see. I found him. Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you.
Yeah, happy to help, bud.
Yeah, and I guess one more thing I did want to say is like I'm still looking into the two literatures that I talked to you about regarding the Shroud of Turin. I heard he found some interesting stuff regarding and just comparing it to what I do know. Just for some background for people who don't know, I do. Well, my formal degree is in biochemistry, but I've done 4 years of work within chemical analysis. And when one of the tools that I did work around, I didn't directly work with it, was X-ray scattering for crystallography, but also for analyzing samples, right? And they're using wide-angle X-ray scattering for analyzing the Shroud of Turin in these two literatures, I immediately had some skepticism. And what I noticed online is that there's no rebuttals to any of this. And I wonder if it's one of two things. One, because the papers have been so new. There's one that came out in 2025 about the fire damage, or temperature damage on the Shroud itself, analyzing it. And there was another one from, I think, 2022 or 2023. That was the one that was like claiming it to be dated to 33 AD, disregarding all the carbon dating and concentration analysis done for it back in the 80s with Stirp. And what I wanted to do is just form together, and I'm messing around with LaTeX right now and trying to upload some stuff on Archive. I thought it was like a little fun project. I look into and annotate the literature and say my personal, and by any means, I'm not a doctor, I only have my bachelor's, but just throw in a little bit of my personal perspective on this. And already some of the methodology seems a little sketchy or off or kind of novel.
I would love this, Skog, because I was having conversations with that guy in my DMs. And one of my critiques of the methodology is they just disregard that a fire even happened. Like, they're just like, nope, didn't happen, so we're not going to account for it at all. Because of the samples that because they only used certain samples that, quote unquote, weren't damaged. And they even make the claim that it doesn't affect the fibers and material.
And another interesting thing is with the X-ray scattering, you're really only looking at the stereochemistry, right? You're only looking at structures, and with that, you're trying to move your way back to saying like this would be foretelling of how old it is. You can't really associate with that. There's a reason why you use half-lives and concentrations of carbon, for example, in carbon dating. That helps you really see a more compact and more accurate answer as to how old something is, because you can trace back, just do the math for the half-lives, right? That's why I use mass spectrometry. Actually, something I did exactly work with. I didn't use it for carbon dating. I used it for heavy metal analysis. But still, the idea and the concept's there. But when it comes down to using X-ray, wide-angle X-ray scattering in particular, wide-angle, not even acute angle, it kind of gets a little messy. And you can see a lot of what they were proposing was very novel. But again, I do want to annotate this more thoroughly before I even try to debate with anyone. And I do want to run this through some doctors from my college, as well as any other professionals who you guys might be aware of. If anybody wants to DM me, I would love to run this through and have them look at the what I'm trying to annotate, right? Because I do want accountability and be able to make this as thorough as possible.
Yeah, whenever you get around to that and writing that, I'll definitely like put that on our resources list and on the Discord, because we're always looking for good scholarly work done on like biblically related stuff, and this would count. I love having a bunch of nerds on my panel.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me up, and thank you for allowing me to talk about that. Again, I'm gonna try to do my best for it. I'm not a doctor. I have my bachelor's only, and I'm applying for a doctorate right now. So hopefully one day I'll be able to get this information to everyone. Thank you.
Yeah, best of luck.
Yeah, thank you, and good to see you, Quanta. And
Absolutely.
thanks again.
you too.
You're more than welcome to stay up if you want. All I've got left to do is read some super chats and then give one last little Hebrew lesson, and then we're gonna end the live.
Actually,
cool. Yeah, absolutely.
That does remind me of a question that I had.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Which is that every now and then with flat earthers, they'll occasionally try to argue that we are in the end times now. Like biblical prophecy is explaining current events, and I'm just curious because I don't know what the Bible actually tries to claim about what the end times, what should actually happen.
So first and foremost, the reason why a lot of Christians want to say that we live in the end times is because the book of Hebrews makes that claim. It says, long ago, God spoke to our ancestors in many and various ways by the prophets, but in these last days, he has spoken to us by his son. The authors of the Gospels and of the epistles thought that they were living in the last days and that Jesus would soon be returning. Of course, that never happened, and we've been living in the last days for 2,000 years.
It was supposed to be within their lifetimes, right?
Right. So
but I'm referring to more of like the actual like events.
So the events that are supposed to happen, the prophet Isaiah said that in the last days that these are the things that are supposed to happen. One, the Jewish people are supposed to be gathered in from the four corners of the world and brought back to the Holy Land. Now, Christians see the creation of the state of Israel as the fulfillment of that, but however, the majority of Jewish people do not live in the land of Israel, and the land of Israel doesn't even remotely look similar to what the biblical monarchy of Israel is supposed to be. It also said that the nation of Israel will be lifted up higher than all the rest of the nations, and that the nations would flock to it, would flow to it like a river, and that the Torah would go forth, and that the word of the Lord from Jerusalem, and then that all nations would make peace with each other, to be no more war. It says that the Messiah will rebuild the temple. You can see the temple behind me, and this is the picture of Solomon's temple behind me. That the Messiah would build the temple, reestablish the Levitical practice. Now that's what the Hebrew Bible says. The Book of Revelation in the New Testament makes the claim that, well, here's the problem with Revelation. It is a book that is filled with symbolic imagery. It'll mention things like a beast with 7 heads and 10 horns rising out of the ocean, and all the people of the world would worship the beast. Of course, if you read the text, it tells you that the beast is meant to be a certain empire, a kingdom with 10 kings that everyone would worship. And in its original context, it was about the Roman Empire. But Christians believe that in the last days that the Antichrist will arise. Some people will try to assassinate him, and they'll be unsuccessful. That he'll try to rebuild the temple and reestablish the practice. Anyway, basically, a lot of the things that the Messiah is supposed to do in the Old Testament, they think the New Testament is supposed to do. Someone said it's pronounced Revelations. No, it's pronounced Revelation, singular. It's in the singular.
There's no S. There's no S.
Interesting.
And also that Jesus would come down and retrieve all his people, and then that they would establish a 1,000-year reign on the earth. Different Christians have different perspectives.
So the whole Antichrist thing is not actually biblical, or?
There is an Antichrist mentioned in the first and second epistles of John. It's said to be a spirit, the spirit of Antichrist, and that there are many Antichrists right now. But the word Antichrist is never actually used in the book of Revelation. It only mentions an individual called the Beast, who is most likely meant to be a reference to the Caesar. And then there's the dragon, who's Satan, who's the power behind the beast. But yeah, no Antichrist in the book of Revelation, but it is in the books of 1st and 2nd John.
Can I ask one question? I apologize. I know you want to head out, but
yeah, go
so
ahead.
what is the isn't it the mark of the beast is 666, and that's like a big thing to Christians and all that? Like, where does that come from, and what is that? Like, what exactly is it? What's the origins?
Yeah, so actually, I guess we'll make this an extra Hebrew lesson real quick. Now, amongst the Jewish people, there's a concept called gematria. Gematria is the idea that certain that in ancient Israel, they didn't have like letters and numbers like we do. We have the alphabet and we have the numerical system that we got from Arabic peoples. Now, in ancient Israel, you either had to write out the name of a word. So, for example, instead of saying one, you would say echad, aleph, chet, dalet. But if you wanted to use a symbol for a number, like for example, the letter aleph equaled 1, beit equaled 2, gimel equaled 3. And when you take the name of Nero Caesar in Hebrew, yeah, let me see if I remember how it's written out.
They really didn't like the Caesar guy, did they?
Well, he killed a lot of Christians, is why. And also promoted emperor worship, which was also forbidden by Christian, you're not allowed to worship anyone other than Jesus. Now in Hebrew, the name of Caesar is Neron. Gee whiz, how you? Let me see if
I'm not very fond of his salad either.
Not very fond of his salad. I don't mind his casino.
Yeah, I like the pizza place.
Oh yeah, the pizza's good. Yeah.
Little
Nice and
Caesars
cheap.
is like the best. Anyways, so Neron and then the Caesar, Kaiser is spelled Kof, Samek, Resh. Neron Kaiser. Now, if you do the gematria for Neron Kaiser, the noon equals 50, the resh equals 200, the vav equals 6, the noon equals 50 again, the kof equals 100, samek equals 60, and then the final resh also equals 200. So when you add this all up, it equals 666.
I just want to add really. Oh, sorry, I thought you were done. If you wanted an excuse to eat pizza, specifically Little Caesars, the owners of Little Caesars supported Rosa Parks' rent of around $200 for like 10 years.
I've heard of this. Yeah, I heard that
cool.
the CEO is actually like a pretty cool guy. Did a lot of charity work.
So order that pizza.
Now, some manuscripts of the Book of Revelation don't say 666. Some say 616, and that's because in Hebrew there are two ways of writing Nero Caesar's name out. You can either write Neron Kaiser, like here, or just Nero Kaiser. So you get rid of the oopsie. Did not mean to. Oh, I done fucked up. Anyways, you just get rid of the noon, get rid of the 50, and that gets you up to 616. So that's why there's that variation.
Wow.
So
that's so cool. That's very interesting. Wow.
Yeah, I didn't know it had a linguistic basis. I thought it was just a scary number.
Yeah, over time it gets reassociated with all kinds of crazy nonsense. Like people think that Ronald Reagan is the Antichrist because Ronald Wilson Reagan. Well, that's 6 letters in each of one of his names, 666. Ooh, all that kind of stuff. Nonsense. But anyways, we're gonna read some super chats real quick.
I have to head out, but I'll see you later.
Hey, Quant, it's good seeing you, bud.
Take care, Quanta.
Later.
And also, real quick, before I get done reading, started reading the super chats, I'm going to take a look and see who we can send a raid to. And as soon as we get done reading super chats, you guys can go over there and raid them. Let's see. The secular perspective is on right now. So everyone, when we get ready to go on TikTok, go check out the secular perspective. All right. Let's read some super chats.
At Verdiv Patah with the $4.99. Peerbot's only ever read bits of English translations, the things he can teach the scriptures, the unearned confidence of mediocre men.
Yeah, I will never get over the idea of someone who doesn't speak Hebrew trying to correct me on what does the Hebrew Bible actually say. It is unearned confidence. That is a very well way of putting it. Good on you, Furtive.
And at Dr. Dave the Constructee with the £5.
Hello, Governor.
Fiery Duncan, Dr. Wasambla here. The animation Frozen has a prophetic song for these brain-rotted Christians about copium. Let it go, let it go. Hashtag rock hard for Dode.
It's so good. I love Frozen. When I was in high school, we watched Frozen 4 times in my forensics class. It was my forensics teacher's last year teaching. He kind of just didn't give a fuck at that point.
And at Simeon Urchin with the $4.99. What verse was that Swords to Plowshares quote? I've always wondered where the name for that magic card came from.
Swords and Plowshares is take a look at this. It's in Isaiah chapter 2, specifically verse. Let's take a look. Is it 14? No, it's not 14. It's verse 4. Isaiah 2:4. He shall judge between the nations and shall arbitrate for many peoples. They shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. Clearly, that never came to pass.
At Kip Tupper with the $10. Great show. Thank you, Dalton, and great work by the mods. Cheers.
Cheers to you too, bud. I'm glad that we're bringing cheers back, at least to America. I know it's a thing over in England, but cheers, mate. And then final super chat for the live.
Can Ashlyn please say more nerdy things? Sinfully wet for Ashlyn.
Wait. Can I? Just for a second. Ooh. Dopamine is not just a reward chemical. It does so much more. It's more like precision weighting and signaling salience rather than pleasure. And where you get this from is like dopamine neurons in the VTA, the ventral tegmental area, and the substantia nigra. This is the paper that I showed you one time that I wrote. But it actually signals like a difference between like the expective and active actual outcomes. And then salience tagging is super cool because it actually flags like things that are behaviorally significant. Oh, salience is like a stimulus that wouldn't really necessarily be novel or something that you would pay attention to, but this salience is like tagging that. So so even if it's like it's active during like a ton of other stuff. So it's dopamine is more like a highlighter for anything that it's not really just pleasure. It does so much more in the brain. So we don't give it enough credit. I'm a behaviorist, so I love dopamine.
Lovely. Well,
no one came in here for this knowledge, but you're leaving with it. I'm going to force it down you.
you wanted a nerdy thing, so there you go, guys. There's your nerdy thing. Now, our final Hebrew lesson for the day, and then we're going to end the live, and everyone make sure you go check out Secular Perspective. In Hebrew, there are many prefixes that we use. Like, for example, we've mentioned one today, how, for example, when we talk about, for example, the Mashiach, and the Messiah, if you want to say the Messiah, you include the prefix hey, which means the Messiah. There are a number of different prefixes in Hebrew, and there's a mnemonic device that Hebrew children learn in order to better remember these prefixes. And if you want to remember these prefixes, you have to ask your friends Etan, Moshe, and Caleb. Why? Because in Hebrew, the names Etan, Moshe, and Kalav, Ethan, Moses, and Caleb, each one of these letters is a prefix in Hebrew. The Aleph is used for I statements like Ehyeh, I will be. The Tav is she, like sort of the Tomar, she speaks. The Nun is like, I believe it's we, or they, rather, nay. Nomar, they speak. The Mem means from or because. So, for example, They come mi Beit David, from the house of David. The Shen is which or who, for example. Shaddai. Some people have understood. That's a whole other thing. Hey means the. Vav means and. Kaf means like or as. Lamed means for or to or about, and then Beit is and. So each one of these names, each one of these letters in the names Itan, Moshe, Vekelav equals a preposition in Hebrew. So there you go. You can listen back to that, and if you need to rehear that. Next show, when? Next show is going to be what's today? Tuesday? Thursday.
Tuesday.
Yeah, so next show will be Thursday at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. And remember, everyone, that I've been the Bible guy, and remember to keep reading, keep learning, and we'll see you all again Friday at Thursday.
Go raid the secular perspective. Sorry, before my brain stops.
Yeah, we'll see you all again Thursday, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. Bye.
Take care, everyone.
Like a sword of desire, ancient scrolls and cosmic flame. He tears through myth, he breaks the chain. Echoes of prophets, the scars align. Knowledge and thunder intertwine.